But yeah, Nemesis, they just got to do a little better in the ban phase. They got to understand their strengths and try to take it to them a bit instead of just trying to have these match comps that they are just not winning with. So I expect to see some different stuff here. I know over the last 3 maps, you mentioned to me during the break, they've actually played at Symbiotic last time and lost when you're looking at Nemesis. So hopefully they've learned from their mistakes as we go back to Symbiotic Surface for the first map here.
Yeah, and Symbiotic Surface was the closest of the maps, I think. I mean, just barely. They got a point there, Nemesis, but still, wasn't their best showing. Looking at this team, we just saw Nemesis, so you guys are familiar, but let's go to now take a look at our eyes towards some of this Dreamland roster. For those that don't know, as we get some of the pick and ban phase underway, we've got a deadly duo of Stinkers and Chime. Chime being that Jean Grey, that's where you're going to see that Phoenix Protect come from them, and they love what they can do on that hero. We know how good she is for the hit scan role. And we're getting a mag ban, cloak ban, Psylocke, so a lot of respect shown here early, Shib.
Yeah, I mean, and then you have to mention Chuckles. Chuckles is, a young, the word's been tossed around a bit, prodigy, 16 years old here on the Vanguard and showing up in every single one of these matches. I mean, talk about nerves of steel and, growing up in a seriously intense environment when it comes to these tournaments and really performing and all the way to the finals and the top side of the bracket and progressing forward here. You see, goodbye to Psylocke, goodbye to Magneto, see a Cloak and see a Luna. I mean, that is, on the side of Dreamland, they've been banning Cloak a ton, Ultron a ton. We see Nemesis banning Mag against this team a ton. So this is looking pretty similar to what we've seen in the past. It's all about, can we see a different outcome if you're looking for Nemesis? But I know Dreamland's got what it takes.
And listen, we talked about people that concentrate on 1 or 2 heroes. Mello being, I can guarantee you, Human Torch, Winter Soldier for the most part. And Valentina Eve, very talented Invisible Woman. And we're seeing that Sue Storm save right now with that because she is just able to do things people are not, honestly, on the hero. Now, with the save there on Amadian, we're seeing this because last time they went against each other, funny enough, we saw a lot of concentration go towards shutting down that. Now, actually, Looking Dazed is going to be subbing in here, Shib. So that is going to be the big difference right away here with Nemesis. They're going to try a little bit of a different look on Symbiotic Surface.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff you think you need to see, right? If you want to shake up, if you struggled on this map last time against this team and you've got something you can pull out of your back pocket that'll shift up the way this team looks at you as a whole, if it's a different hero pool, if it's a different strategy, that kind of stuff can win you the game, especially as you see here, Daze is going to be locking in that Wolverine. And you know how impactful Wolverine can be, essentially taking some of these Vanguards out of the game. But the counter to that is a very strong Invis. And we know Valentina Eve is really, really strong on that Invis. So I'm curious to see what that looks like here when it comes to that tackle, if you can get pulled off. I mean, that's virtually what you're saving all of your cooldowns for as Invis. You want to make sure you have that push and pull consistently ready to save your Vanguards.
And you know what? We're just seeing the flexibility already from Dreamland. They kind of went back and forth. Stinkers was like, okay, you can have the Ultron Chime. Then no, he swapped over. And now we're having them switch to who's playing what, because they can both play a lot of the roles at the same time. We did see Phoenix, I believe Lord on both of them. So, they play plenty of old Jean Grey over there. But yeah, looking at the early comps here, this is a map typically Nemesis does very well on. I like what they do and their approach in general. They've clutched a ton in the Ignite series back in the mid-season here, but looking towards what we've got now, you've got the offense approach, the Wolverine for Days. All right, trying to mix it up a bit here, but yeah, like you said, Chuckles, the young prodigy, really stood out. Mace was just, we've seen Mace a ton in these tournaments and always kind of steadfast, doing great on the Vanguard role. But here we go, guys. We are underway. It's the grand finals, and it all starts right now.
Yeah, just continuing that conversation about Mace and IGL. We talk about conversation and just having comms, right? Communication in these games. Mace does a good job in-game leading those comms, ensuring the team is all on one page and being the voice behind the decision-making. That can be very important. Every team has their different strategy of how to handle that communication, but I know that is, Mace's style, and it seems to work a ton as we start off here with a tackle. Daze gonna find Mace immediately right towards the back line. They do get that pick. What a throw here by Craze with Daze. The combination is insane. What a start to this fight as we keep going for fight 1.
I love the sub going in immediately and getting that absolute aggression there, taking down the Vanguard early, forcing them to back up. And look at what it's done to open up this fight. Daze going in immediately with Logan, with a slice and dice there now. And just the point, completely not contested. Shit, what did we just witness?
Yeah, that was a little strange. I'm surprised to see nobody, try to really commit there and commit after the fact. That's a little bit of a misplay, I believe, by the side of Dreamland, who've been playing pretty lights out. Obviously, it is a best-of-7 series. First to 4 will win this series. You don't want to be warming up for too long, though. That's a little bit of a misplay. I know they can play smarter than that as Chime finds Daze and starts turning that momentum around a little bit. Mace is going to fall here to scatter. Melophobia onto Chime, and this comp is really working for him.
Playing with a vengeance, and you know what? That's what you get from going from the lower finals. We saw that in Ignite midseason, right? Where people that had more time to kind of practice, warm up, was able to come off the heater. And right now, it's Nemesis showing, okay, listen, we got swept. We're going to do a lot more here in the grand finals. Opening up, we got the invisible boundary here from Ricky that can go Dink's way as well. But look for Melo and what he can do with that final judgment heading in to this next team play.
And we start up with fight 2. Great positioning here by Nemesis to hold on that high side again. We're going to try to make something happen with Wolverine. From downtown, up we go. We see the supernova. A ton of damage goes out as Melophobia falls, and that's the downside of being a big body when it looks at Punisher. Dinks falls too from Chime. Stinker's onto Ricky with a 2-piece now, and that is going to be a reset here for Nemesis, who will all fall. Great retake by Dreamland, still holding on to a couple ults.
Yeah, I was going to say, very smart ult economy from both teams, to be honest. We had what was needed to try to get the wins and have it for Nemesis. They pulled back, and Dreamland didn't overcommit there. Do like the extermination there from Stinkers just to kind of seal the deal and make this thing reset. Mace now at 93%. Mace typically always on Vanguard. He does have Wolverine in his pocket if he needs to use it. We've seen this in the past. Love to see what he's got in store here. He's going to go for the kidnap, but there is a bit of a break there now as he's slicing, dicing, not connecting quite yet, and the invisible boundary does go up.
Clobbering time out, and he does find Chuckles. That's one. Good follow-up there by Dinks. Can they keep the pressure? Yes, they do. Melophobia now onto Jabori. Down goes Mace, and they're keeping this momentum. I'm not a huge fan of the comp that they were running there for the side of Dreamland. It's tough. There's really no main front line there when you're running that Wolverine with the cap. So it's tough. There's really no main base, right? No one just really holding on to that front line point. Everyone's trying to make off-angle plays with the tackle. When it comes to that Feral Leap, when it comes to cap, it's really a backline aggression play. So a little bit of a confusing composition. I don't know if they're going to be able to get back here and maintain point 2, but we will see if that changes up as they head into point 3. I know this team is incredibly strong. Mace falling early, and there it is, point 2.
Yeah, great call there. I mean, who's going to be with the Mantis, right? And the Wolverine's kind of off by itself. You have both Stinkers Chime up in the air. Chuckles is probably, running around as a cap per usual. So very interesting. They got to ground themselves, not only in this grand finals, but that team comp, as you mentioned here. But they are sticking with what they've had so far. We're not having any swaps yet, which is definitely an interesting take. They clearly practice what they're trying to accomplish here, though. We do have the kidnap coming there with the team up, and there's the first Berserker Rage. Maybe that's what they're waiting for there as Mace goes up, goes down. They do get the pick on Scatter, and then maybe we get a rotation here as they're heading down the hill.
Yeah, just burning a little bit of that front line should buy them some space as they head right back in. Chime going to commit with a supernova. A ton of damage onto the front. Team is going to regress backwards, though, as you should. Retake as a unit, but the tackle goes out by Mace. Feral Leap finds one, does not manage to get that KO, but great play there. Team is going to now elect to reset and start over. Daze comes in hot with the leap, and we see Craze following right after. Punisher with the final judgment. Craze going to find 2. Down goes another as Stinkers goes down from Melophobia. They're going to keep this pressure forward, and Cap's going to pay for it with 2 more. Melophobia popping off here with a 3-piece.
I mean, what are you going to do to stop the bullets there, right? Like, who do they have to stop just eliminating the flyers from the sky? And they did just that. Now they are swapping to the Strange, to your point exactly. And Craze, the big difference, Craze was having a tough time against Dreamland just yesterday, has flipped it together. And the thing is the answer right now, but you got to stop the nightmare that is Melophobia.
And we'll start up again. Great turret placement here, just doing a ton of damage. Out we go with the Rage of Voltron. Stinkers trying to find some pressure onto the back line now, keeping that team healthy, but still the team is full HP, very close to point 3 with almost 3 minutes on. Ricky gonna find Chuckles here early for the side of Team Nemesis, who are now up in numbers. Valentina Eve gonna pop with an ult here to try to hold on to the defense, and Melophobia finds Mace now. And the numbers are roughly even, but we do see an Eye of Agamotto pop. Jabori in a dangerous position, falls. Melophobia with a 2-piece back-to-back with a shoddy. Finds Chime. Is this enough to press them through point 3? This would be an insane attack as Craze is going to find Valentina, and the portal goes out.
Oh my, just absolute full vengeance from Nemesis, the Roman Coliseum, both the invisible boundaries, forcing it up close, and it's the shotgun that ends the statement there. Could you ask for a better opening coming off the sweep, Shib? I am absolutely blown away. I'm both half blown away by Nemesis and how they played, and also equally a bit confused with not only going for the first cap there, they didn't contend that, right? But then they go to a comp that wasn't really good answer to what we saw. So Dreamland's got to reset a little bit. Obviously here to make sure, you know, things get back on track.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it was just a little bit of a momentum shift. I think that first point was wild, how fast that was taken after their initial pick. And then the downside is, you know, maybe they're thinking of resetting and trying to hold tight, but then they all fall almost instantaneously after grabbing point one. It's at the, you know, if you're going to do that, the conversation is why not try to stall for a little longer and buy some time. So I think it's just a little bit of a mental mistake situation that kind of faltered and just kind of led to like a downhill spiral. But I will say, if any team can bounce back and pop off based on what we've been seeing, Dreamland is that team, as we do see a more traditional composition now.
30 seconds before you attack.
Exactly here now as they do set up for the first hold here. Now we did see some fun portal play. Don't know if we're going to get that right away. Team Nemesis, a very disciplined team. We've seen that time and time again. You know, they don't go for the aura farms, as you know the kids say. They go just for the standard wins. It doesn't have to be sexy, just has to work, right? Now looking forward to Dreamland here. Do like a little bit of the change-ups they're going to go with. Stinkers now going to that wolf, so they like Days and the flex they had. Amadian, such a great player, but I love the flex play thus far. We'll see if we get that opening portal. Mace likes to kind of hide and stay behind. They did last time there with the opening Punisher turret, and they found an off angle, but looks like they're just going the traditional route. Shib.
Yeah, looks like it was prepped on the defense there by the side of Scatter, who was ready with that portal back. So great decision by Maze. Probably, you know, metagaming, essentially finding out, hey, they might have seen that we did this last time. Let's hold off on the portal and bait out their portal. So big brain there by Maze, if that was the intention, as Scatter now going to maintain this high side angle. Ton of damage goes out. Now the tackle is thrown. Scatter going to find Jabori, and that's a good start here for the side of Nemesis now. Make that 2 as Mace falls. And even a stronger defense that we saw clearly from the last go as Scatter gets 3. And good positioning by the side of Team Nemesis, knowing that they're going to take this angle if not making that portal play. So covering both sides there, but we might see a portal soon unless they want to hold it for the final touch.
I mean, it was barely a fight. That was survival instinct on the side of Dreamland, just trying to be on display there. But yeah, great point. Vanguard's really putting on a show right now, and either way, 2 minutes eternity on the clock there that Nemesis was able to cap with. So Dreamland has to play perfect here from here on out. Now you do have that portal, as you said. Great point here. A lot of pressure trying to get done, but Scatter doesn't care. Mellow to follow. It's done. Another team fight in the books inside of Nemesis.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of an idea of, you know, let's take half the team through the portal, send the other down main lane, but I'm just not sure there was enough commitment through the portal to drive enough attention away from the main lane, and Nemesis was able to capitalize on that. So well done again on the defensive side of Nemesis. Dreamland, though, going to have a slight alt advantage, actually roughly dead even right now, as we will have some strategist line alts ready to counter up. Once we start now, Final Judgment super speed, going to run right towards the back line, matched right back. Who takes this win, though? It's anybody's fight as Scatter cleans up Chime. Chime goes down. Melophobia onto Stinkers now. And wow, Nemesis looking really, really good. And alts are still being roughly even across the board as we go into our next fight with 2 minutes on.
Castle feet castle for the final judgments, but it's the fortresses that are the tanks that get the roll done in the team fight 1. Gotta love it when it just comes down to the pure raw talent between here Chime and Mellow. 2 very good duelists at hands. Another reset, minute and 45 to show now, as we do have the Mantis ult trying to push this team some momentum forward. Dazo with the pick on Stinkers, and then we've got Mace with the 1-2 chip.
Yeah, Mace with the 2-piece there is momentum shifting heavily after Daze finds 1 onto Stinker. Stinker should be back quickly too. Valentina now finding Daze as they are keeping this pressure, and this is looking like a Dreamland advantage. They likely are going to get very close to capping, if not capping. They should now, as I don't think we will see, we will not see a portal coming through. So well done by Dreamland on the attack, staying calm even after some tough fights.
Yeah, just getting everything back together there. 3 minutes, 39 seconds now. Obviously less than what they had here, and I think they won about 1 fight here on point 2, correct, as they moved in. So again, gonna have to have a very clean finish. 1 on the point right now, though, and I do like the pressure forward. Valentina trying to do the best from a mile away of the team right now. You do have an Agamotto ready to go, Shib, and, you know, Nemesis isn't far from what they need as well, economy-wise.
Yeah, notice folks that are trying to climb ladder, the teams are electing to take that high ground as soon as they possibly can, but to counter it, Nemesis taking everyone to that left angle. Out we go with the Eye of Agamotto on Amelio. Melophobia, excuse me, is going to be able to hold on. The whole team now is going to be inside of that invisible boundary, the Venn diagram. Daze finds Mace, though. So what up here for Nemesis after the entire backline also been pops? Here we go with another judgment. Will this one land? After holding on here, the throw. Oh, good reposition. Gonna put some pressure, and it does work out as Chime goes down. After Chime finds one, Melophobia gets that pick, though. The whole team now gonna reset. Stinkers onto Dinks, Daze onto Chuckles. These fights are so back and forth now as we're roughly even across the board, but down goes two more on the side of Dreamland as Nemesis walked this through.
What a textbook Agamotto by Mace, but no, Ricky had the test answers. Throw up the invisible boundary. They flip the script. Daze can see limb on Mace there moving forward. And right now, you've got this kind of weird Daze versus their Wolverine, and then obviously the Mellow Chime show. And it's right now in favor of Team Nemesis as they're just trying to hold them back with somewhat ease. They got another final judgment ready to pop. The clobber in time. Look for some absolute vengeance coming from Frank Castle in just a moment.
And here we go with another final judgment. These Punishers getting all insanely quickly. Out we go with a clobbering time. Following up, down goes Chime. Melophobia with that combination. A ton more play than I would think here with the Thing. Now that Magneto's banned out, a big issue for Punisher. So that's just going to kind of enable a ton of damage. Scatter Gang is going to find Mace. Mace again gets found early on by these team combinations. Very unfortunate as Chuckles and Chime make that. Chime and Stinkers again are walking right back with a vengeance. Nemesis, no ults on either. Really well done by Dreamland to hold on to this momentum. Still making sure they can win this next fight with some commitment of ultimates.
Absolute Marvel blockbuster over there with ults popping. A great job getting a lot of the ones out of the way, though. Jabori a little bit far away. Valentino was forced to use invisible boundary to win that fight. Minute 17 seconds. They're going to have to win this now. Under on the strategist ult. When you look at Team Nim, though, they don't have much either. So Dinks is going to match Jabori. Here comes the portal. They want the aggression right away. Maybe make it 3 fights to win the point, Shiv, as they collapse in.
Yeah, good take here again by the side of Nemesis, but like we had just mentioned, Dreamland up on ults. They've got to find value now. They are holding on to some big ones. Can actually even use that combination with the Phoenix Ensong Inferno and come right in after with that Eye of Agamotto, knowing that shields likely will be burned if you time it properly. So a really good combination, very similar to what you've seen with Magneto with the Meteor M. Will that be utilized? We'll find out shortly. Dinks holding on here, ready with the, there it is, matched immediately. Out we go with final judgments now on both sides. Who gets the most value? It's anyone's fight. We'll find out now as everyone is putting a ton of damage out. Chime gonna find Melophobia, and that's a huge win. Chuckles now with another. Chime with 2. Jabori on a scatter. Valentina onto Daze, and they are trying to match this up, getting to point 3.
It's raining ultimates here in the grand finals. Map 1. I mean, I swear, Shiv, every Q was just pressed at that moment. But they got the job done, what's needed here, pushing forward. And I like Chime's approach here with the damage boost. Just getting enough pressure to allow the point all the way through. They're going to get so indeed here as they're going to cap it. 1 minute, 30 seconds. I mean, that's already a minute less than Nemesis had for the full cap. But hey, all you need is to get 3 points. We're going to see it here. We're going to see if Chime can get a pick. He does. Ricky goes down, Shiv.
Yeah, again with these early fights. That's 3. Make it 4. Melophobia finds 1 onto Chime, but that is not enough as they are just going to walk this quickly. Try to fall on the point as you saw there. Just to stall for a moment before your team resets, but good commitment by the entire team to not use any of those ults here and just fall on point, getting ready for the next fight. There is only a minute on the clock, and that's where point 2, a couple fights make all the difference now as Nemesis has 2 minutes and 14 on the final take there. So this is getting serious now. It's all about getting to OT and clutching up in that moment. Valentina holding on to that invisible boundary is all they're really going to be able to use in this early fight.
Yeah, here Valentina definitely going to be a big playmaker with 40 seconds left. No mistakes can be made. They've been showing coordination is great, but it's been more even choreography with the team here. Throwing it up to counter the clobbering time. They do get the ult out. The Agamotto follows here. Going to be close to seeing Chime and Valentina getting the 1, 2, 3. That's a quick way and an exclamation point to get down this hill. They've got to win 1 more now, and the ult economy now favoring over Nemesis on this last fight. The Chime and Chuckles are still loaded.
Yeah, that was great patience there on the side of Dreamland, really only using Valentina at that moment. Now there's going to be almost 5 ults up, soon to be 5 ults up for Dreamland in this final fight, favoring them heavily if its touch can come through. And there, pushed right out of the boundary, tries to jump right back in. After the final judgment, Ricky goes down. Dinks goes down, and that's enough as the portal wall comes out from Mace. Beautiful play, and we are going to OT.
I mean, what you could have scripted better, Ship. I mean, just what a match one to open things out. I mean, Nemesis getting such a dominant start, but then you see Dreamland just a bend not break. Yes, they got the 3-0 last time in the upper bracket, but right now it's going to come down to who can clutch it up in this overtime matchup. Listen, do you think that we're going to see kind of a different comp from Dreamland here? We're going to have Nemesis start. I wouldn't switch things up with how amazing it went with Days. You might as well go with potentially the same thing, the old fastball special, but I don't know. It looks like they might go another direction.
Yeah, this is that chess match, right? About the portals, in OT. You got 3 minutes on, so it's either you want to hold that portal for the final retake or you try to make a play early on. And who's going to commit that cooldown early and who's going to try to bait the other cooldown? It's going to be a tricky position. This is where portal kidnaps can come into play and be very dangerous too. So it is a tricky position to be in. I do not see, I don't see Dreamland necessarily holding on to it as there's only a minute left. And Mace would have to fall relatively early for them to get a ton of value with the portal. So it's tricky now, as Nemesis does have that additional couple minutes on the clock. That's all the time in the world needed, because you can use that portal right off the rip and have the cooldown back actually towards the end of the OT fight. So that is a massive advantage, and that's why time on the clock is really important.
Yeah, that's where just so much, even the seconds matter to such a high degree. Look for this first kidnap to really make the big difference. Now, looking at what they're going to try to go with approach-wise, Dreamland, again, they've tried this turret approach with the portal. Can't use the gimmicks too much at the moment, as you've highlighted. Okay, no, we are going to take the fight right to them. They're going to shut them down and stall as much as possible. Shit, what a way to get things going now, as they're going to force to go into the point here with Mace.
That was big brain right there. Pretend you're walking, force out the counter portal, and then immediately reuse it with the Punisher setup. So I think that's the play here. And yes, it is. They are going to send it down main while that portal goes through. Try to put some damage onto Days, who now is trying to take Mace out. This could be huge for the side of Nemesis. Both teams are playing like crazy as Scatter finds Mace. One down. Numbers up here for Nemesis on the defense. Can they keep the momentum as the turret is behind? Dinks falls here from Valentina to even the odds. Oh my goodness. Stinker loses the passive quickly. Still gonna reset, be healed up here. Melaphobia taking a fair amount of damage, but does reset back to the team. 4 seconds on, they've got a touch here. 3, 2, and they do make the touch happen. It's all about this next fight. Mace coming back as Cap. Ton of damage onto Ricky, who does fall. Melaphobia onto Chime. Numbers once again, but Stinkers takes out Scatter. Wow, what a fight here by Dreamland as they find another on a Craze. And they do look like they'll take point 1.
I mean, absolute perfection. A man down. Mace goes out early. Different rotation. Same thing there, but doesn't matter because Valentina hitting the clutch lever there, getting one strategist down. They hunt the other. Mace comes back as the Captain America, doing it all day here. And what a great way now. Overtime activated. Every pixel's going to matter here, but they're getting the cart on the way. And if they win another team fight, Shib, that's going to almost match the time that Nemesis has in the first place.
Yeah, this is tricky, because you want to, if you're going to lose that first point, you want to have an insane ult advantage and take them right now in this tough position for the offensive side. But unfortunately, ult advantage up here for Dreamland. Everybody committing Qs as the Venn diagram is out. Both invis boundaries. Scatter finds Shine, putting numbers on to Nemesis. Everybody popping Q as Mellow is going to pop. We see Jabori as well. Who gets the first pick? Chime falls. Without using that final judgment, can the res come back and find value? Ricky, Craze, Melaphobia. That's 3, and that's going to do it. So they do still win that fight.
Absolutely. Great finish there. Yes, you get the point. I think it's, the mental victory of just getting the point cap was great for Dreamland, especially being a man down and being able to flip that, Shib. But now you've got the 3 minutes, and this is where we've just pointed out that time really comes to be a factor. It took them, by my calculations, like 9 seconds to get the first point last time as Nemesis. So they're going to have to definitely bring something new, and they've nailed that kidnap now twice in a row. They're going to have to look to stop that, and we already know who's the hunter, Days, and who's being hunted. It's Mace.
Yeah, it has found a lot of success for them, and when you have time advantage like this, that early fight, and if you're able to get point 1, just like what we saw on their attack this early, it is very difficult to hold that second little choke for 2 full minutes because the spawn is incredibly deep. So we will see what happens here. These first 2 fights are going to be all the difference on if this time actually matters, because Dreamland being able to get through point 1 like that is potentially map winning. It's just as simple as that.
Stay strong.
Yes, pure animal instincts for days there, getting that rocket boost that we've seen. It's so crazy. And I'm sure as a Vanguard player yourself, it's just like, man, the absolute terror that is Wolverine, that is Logan. So appropriately matched here in Rivals. But getting all together, getting everything gassed up for what is going to be the, I mean, they got a good amount of time, 3 minutes approach. And we'll see what angle they take. More time to have a bit more of a strategy. They typically take this right side up, though, and I expect them to do the same ship.
Yeah, we'll see if the counter portal play happens again. I'm not sure it's being matched, as I don't see Strange being held. So Mace playing confidently, ensuring that they would not use that portal. I like that idea unless it was canceled relatively early as they walk towards the right together as a unit. Got to take this fight relatively quickly. It's all about using this time advantage once again, and we are going to see the fight over in this corner, which has worked twice now for the side of Nemesis. Will it happen again?
Yeah, I do like the swap there from Stinkers and Chime to go to these 2 hit scans and try to contest if there is something going to be picked here. But, oh, we have Melophobia trying to take the fight right into, got the damage boost and the shot and the finish. And Chuckles not getting the last laugh there as they're going right to the point with the smoke. Vanguard down now. He's high, trying to hunt what is going to be the biggest pick, and that's going to be yet another Stinkers. We got a duelist Vanguard 6v4. It's looking like this point's going to be theirs to clean up.
Incredible off angle there from Melophobia, just dealing a ton of damage towards the back line, but unfortunately team electing to walk forward is going to be difficult for them to maintain this space. Chime on a Melophobia, are you kidding me? That is a huge pick, driving everyone back. Wow, Jabori follows up on a Daze, and that is nutty. Portal goes out now, but this time on the side of Nemesis, I believe, as they retake as a unit. Gotta wait for Daze to come back into this fight, and this is another good usage of that portal to be a wall that you can play around. So that was nutty to witness. I really thought that was going on the side of Nemesis after that fight, but Dreamland, do not give up. This team can make it happen. As I say that, Melophobia now on a Chuckles. Out we go with the boundary, and it's going to be matched right back with another boundary whose final judgment gets the more pressure as Scatter finds Shine. There's your answer, and Nemesis looks like they'll take this point 1.
Absolutely perfect play there. How Chime even saw Mello setting up in the turret there. Not only gets the turret down, goes right for the headshot, takes out Mello. I mean, absolute incredible peak awareness, what you're expecting to see here at the top level of the grand finals. But yes, what a way to recover even through that. The portal back and everything. Now as the team gets together and they're looking for what is the last bit of cap, we have Mace unfortunately having the portal in touch and nothing happens from it. This is going to be Nemesis taking most likely the round 1 with 2.98 ship. They're gonna have to throw everything they have left. Dreamland, they do have the Phoenix, they've got the Agamotto, but Mello not letting anything happen. That's it. That's map 1.
Yeah, Nemesis taking point 1. And for those who maybe not understand what just happened, Mace likely used that portal to touch, folks, just being that the team couldn't get there to make that touch happen prior to it walking through the OT point. So that is why that commitment maybe seemed like a little bit of an overcommitment, but it may have likely been necessary there. But wow, what a just beautiful play here by the side of Team Nemesis, who bounced back and take a map that they lost to this team last time.
I was going to say, just already we have a different result, right? It was a 3-0 from Dreamland, and then just like that, they get the first win. And that's what's so fun about watching these teams at top level play ship, is that even when something looks so lost, you have someone like Chime able to turn the page completely, and then it goes right back over to the other side of Nemesis there. But looking at the MVPs, first of all, Valentina E, very deserving of the SVP. 41,000 healing, 16K. Wow. Are you kidding me? Absolute insane stats you're seeing there from Sue Storm. Gonna be afraid of her in season 4 even more so, but Melophobia doing what he does best, almost with the 50K burger ship.
Yeah, I mean, Sue can put out insane damage. We've seen it a lot at this level of play. Obviously, Sue, it may be a little bit more slept on with Loki Luna being at the top of the meta. And for this current season, obviously, that will or may change as we head towards season 4. But yeah, I mean, look at Melophobia. 29 finals is obscene. That is over 12 the opposition. That is some serious work there on the Punisher. And then we know how strong those initial tackles were by Daze. So great swap with the sub there.
Especially because we've seen so much of Mello play in the past. He was doing just Winter Soldier and Human Torch mainly, right? 49,000 damage. He picks up Punisher. Maiden is out. The sub did work. We'll have to see if they end up doing the same sub rotation. It did work. And you said when it opened the matchup, just throw a little surprise factor in there, right? And they did that and caught them by surprise there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams are doing their homework, right? They're watching tape, they're understanding how various teams play different maps and trying to make sure that they can't find success with whatever they found success with in the past. So changing things up, adding subs, changing rotation. I mean, I think we saw even a little bit there on the side of Dreamland, the compositional difference. I think they had a unique defensive comp where they were running the cap only Vanguard, and clearly it didn't work out for them on point 2. It didn't give them enough time to stall to make it more viable for point 3, especially with the portal walls coming up from both sides. And we know how strong strange portal wall can be on point 3 of this map.
Yeah, sometimes in scrims and practice, if these teams play for a long time, a certain comp, right, they're going to run it and they're going to make sure they try to stick to what they've practiced. Obviously, didn't work out in the live setting, and sometimes you got to reset. They did so, and it did work for a while, but they now have to reset for match number 2, which we're going to get to here in just a moment. If it's anything like match 1, I'm ready for it. We're going to be back after this quick, short break.
Show me that you are still the only one that matters for me. I'll be waiting for you. Wait up in your hands, holding on to your heart. Look inside you. Can you feel it? The sparks in you. Ready to unleash it all. Wake up, open your eyes, raising your fists and smashing through time walls. Before the rift splinters yet again. We are rivals to the end. And rise up, open your mind, hold on to your powers. No one can stop us. We are rivals till the end of time. Remember the dusk, the lights gripping tightly, trapping all those fighting souls. But yet, across the world, I see you standing in my way. And remember the time, the place we used to fight, like the sun and moon. And I wonder if ever there was a time that we.
Hello.
Greetings.
You cannot hurt me. I was merciful. Crawl back to your domain, Hela.
In this timeline, the machines will rule.
The doctor has conjured a portal. Ultron is like a plague. We must be the cure. Now, a disappearing act. You are under my spell.
We are done chasing spiders. We have bigger enemies to conquer. You're ours now. Time to toughen up. We are Venom!
The other guy's been doing a lot of talking for me. You remember old Eddie?
What's going on, guys? We are back with the Marvel Rivals Championship Season 3 Grand Finals and Ship. We just came off Match 1. Nemesis already flipped the script. It was 3-0. Now they're up 1-0. Gotta ask you to open things up. Who gets Match 2? You gonna see the bounce back from Dreamland, or do you have Nim again?
See, here's the thing. I think Nemesis coming from that lower bracket finals, they got rid of that nerves a little bit. I know it's still nerve-wracking going into the finals, but the butterflies chilled out a bit. I'd like to think that Dreamland, knowing how strong of a team they are, they were just getting the butterflies out of the way in that matchup and are now going to lock back in for map 2. If it's not going to be going their way, it's going to be a very close one, but I have Dreamland on 2. What about yourself?
Yeah, I like what you're saying there. I think because it's the grand finals, the biggest moments here in the MRC, at least, right? We're going to see a 1-1. I think we're going to get this thing tied back up. It does depend. We talked a little bit about it briefly here before the or in the break. That we're going to see Days. We're going to see Amadian come back in. I want to say I think that Nemesis did win the pick ban phase there when it came to symbiotic surface. I think they had exactly what they wanted. Yes, you know, Melophobia going to Punisher was something they didn't expect as much, but I'd be surprised if we didn't see a Wolverine ban, especially if Days is going to be locked in that sub position.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by things like the lock-in of Invis. Obviously, Valentina is disgusting on Invis, but Ricky also is well known to be a very strong Invis, right? Stuff like that, you know, is going to likely get through the ban phase unless that's like the mind games of it, that is something I'm missing. So, you know, I'm curious to see if we'll see a change up in at least locks and bans, because I do think some of the stuff was a little bit redundant and maybe wasn't necessary. So, I mean, we're going to see very shortly here as we head into map 2.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, we've said all the time, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And Days certainly wasn't. So I expect them to carry in with that same momentum. And yes, we can confirm right now. There you go, Central Park. Days still in on that supposition. Like what they did in exactly what we said, right? I mean, there's no question. I think they looked for the D there at the beginning. They see Dinks. Okay, Days is there. Bam. Get rid of Wolverine. Psylocke to match.
Yeah, it's a smart idea. I think it was a problem. A lot of early picks in those fights with just from the last or the tackle, the feral leap there by the side of Days was a ton of value. Maybe not getting the most finals in the match, but that's not what matters. It's about that initial pick and giving your team the advantage in the fight. As we see, a save here of Human Torch and a ban of Psylocke. You know, the Psylocke ban I think is very strong right now. I think that is a very meta pick and very terrifying if you're a strategist.
I mean, look at that. Just again, we said it last time when there was 0 meta on the board. I'm like, okay, we're getting meta this time around. Yeah, the 2 flames that is going to be sparking the flames of Ignite, Human Torch and Jean Grey Phoenix being saved. Both their teams saying, hey, you know what? We can do it different in the air, and that's going to be obviously Melo definitely locking in. He's always going to be Human Torch if it is made available, but Ultron shut down. Smart position there to try to at least get rid of that deadly duo that we see often. I think they're okay with that. Amadian does play a lot of Ultron, so you know, we don't know Dinks' entire pool at this point. Punisher save as well, kind of opening up the floodgates of what they want to do and the way they want to approach this. I very much like it. Mace is going to get his Emma though.
Yeah, Emma Locke is, very strong. I think really strong here on Central Park. This is a map that these two have not played each other on, at least in the last series. Maybe, in scrims or in the past, this has been something they've explored. But Emma dominates point 3 with that staircase. Very terrifying with the carbon crush into the kick. It does not give you an opportunity to make sure you're not off map. You are essentially just thrown consistently. So Emma at this map, even there on point 1 with the aggro, just a ton of walls around for you to play around with that kick and carbon crush. Emma dominates this map. So good lock in there. If you're confident you can out Emma the competition, there's no reason to not lock that in. Punisher going to be locked in as well. Goodbye to Magneto. That's another one of those difficult situations. It's so hard to shut down a Punisher without Magneto.
Yeah, I mean, hey, and listen, we've seen Scatter. Scatter is a very good Emma, right? And so, listen, you're going to be confident. Like you said, this is coming from the Emma guy himself, right? So, definitely those kicks can be lethal right off. I can't tell you how many times I've seen the bottom of that stairwell. Last point there from the Emma. But listen, when you got the comps together, I think they both did a great job there getting Wolverine now. They got what they want. Going to give the edge now to Dreamland, at least getting a bit more of a comfortable comp. We always say this, and I interviewed the players a lot in China here. Do you ban against the other team, or do you ban for your own team? Now, obviously, this is going to be mirror ban, so it's a bit tougher. But I like when bans just want to play or teams want to play what they want to play, and they're going to try to just do what they do best.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a great take. I think if you're playing your comfort picks, it's not really about, it's such a team-based game, right? It's not about who is outperforming on specific heroes. As long as your team is coordinated and understanding how to make these specific picks happen, you don't need to shut down another team. I think if you're really hard focused on shutting down a specific player, you're in a disadvantage in the banning phase. And that's been something we've been seeing consistently throughout Ignite, throughout the MRC. Once they start doing things like banning the Panther, for example, is an example we see a lot. Typically a more of an off-meta ban, it enables the enemy team to start playing much more meta picks. And granted, these are open, banning system where if you ban on either side, it is matched for both, but still it gives that specific team an advantage on something they can play more confidently.
Yeah, well put, for sure. And I'd like to break down when you look at it too. We're going to definitely see, most likely from what we saw previous days, Chime, here's the thing, Chime can flex really well as Stinkers, and so it's going to be interesting who kind of picks up what role here. I do expect the Battle of the Air to go between most likely Chime and Melophobia, if I were to guess. But Daze, how well can they play? You got the Punisher save in there, so is that going to be more for Melo to be able to swap to that if needed? But I have a hard time thinking that he's going to play anything but that Human Torch as you go in. And I got to say, out of all the Torch maps, Shib, this might be my favorite hometown advantage being Central Park for him.
Yeah, there is a lot of location, vertical movement and just structures to play around. We talk about these teams, and at this level of play, you play around natural cover. And what does that mean? It's cover that cannot be broken, that you're consistently dancing around in, in this third-person perspective, getting vision on the enemy, and then having a wall that isn't a cooldown to use for defense. But on this map, especially on defense, there is a ton of structures right in the center of the point that you can dance around on Torch. So I have no doubt in my mind it will be matched on both sides. As you can see here, Chime and Melophobia both running that Torch. But I do, Daze is going to be on the Punisher, actually, as we're walking in right now.
Yeah, we see Melo versus Chime. That's going to be a big opening pick. What's going to happen with that now? Jabrori is going to be able to lock in that Loki, but Dinks, we've seen what both can do. Very similar comp. Love that crashes on Groot, especially for this first point. Really helps shut things down quickly. Dreamland now going for a quick back flank. Love this from Chime. He's going to go for the dive and the not completion there, but he's going to go up and see if he can go and get some picks. Does finish off Daze, but Melo up top suppressed. Melo did not capitalize on Chime there. He was kind of, focused on getting the elimination.
And we see more pressure forward. Nobody following just yet. Craze is going to be on that Groot. Incredibly comfortable pick there for Craze, who does a great job on defense, kind of isolating that very shallow, the very tight opening window. Everybody playing on height here. This is something to take to your latter games as Chime falls in with a two-piece onto the back line. Goodbye, Ricky and Dinks. What an attack strategy here by Dreamland as Chime, Mace, and Chime again. Valentina finds one, and this will put them in a great position. Can they get this portal back? I'm not sure that the strategists have switched. They may try to make this touch happen with Dinks here on Loki, followed up by a portal, but I'm not 100% sure they're committing. It looks like they are not, and they are going to elect to hold for point 2.
He's hot. That was scorched earth on the strategist. The quick 1-2 on the flame on game on there now as Chime is really showcasing why this hero could be so lethal and why we need Angela coming to the game here shortly. Now with the snowflake on, he's going to go pressure. Melo now is forced to back out. He can't stagger this early, especially after the reset, Shib. Now looking towards it, all the ultimates going to be here, what's needed. But oh, it's Stinkers that takes out the rest of Mellow, and that stagger is going to be lethal.
Yeah, Dreamland has awoken here. They're looking much more fluid as a team. Nemesis on their heels. Alt still up in advantage for Dreamland as we see some commitment now. We have the Nova up, and here we go with the end song. Damage boost out as Chime finds Daze. Daze goes down. Scatter goes down. Chime getting these early picks like it is his job. Make that a third. Stinker is going to find another, and they are walking now towards point 2.
Absolutely wildfire out there, and you can't change the approach that you want. Daze is going to go to Winter Soldier, but yeah, Mellow here has got to win these fights in the air, and right now it is all Chime as team backs it up. Chuckle's doing a great job too there on the land. They're both flying and on the ground. Doing it all here is Dreamland now. We do have a bit of an ult to try to counter things. Chuckles is going to get his kind of faux strategist ult there from the Vanguard, but they're making it past this first choke point. This phase 2 is so important to get the majority of this clock out because phase 3 just gets so much more pressure. Chime hiding though, and here it is, the fight about to clash. Chime going around the back end, trying to get another cheeky pick to start things out, Chip.
Yeah, we see a little bit of a difficulty there. Dinks copying early, trying to hold on to that ult, but only having around 15 seconds before having to commit with that ult. So the dance floor gets matched. Here we go with the Psionic. Does this get value? Good idea to use that on height as Daze finds one. That's going to put them in a good spot right now. Up a number with ults out. We do have advantage here for Nemesis and ults. Melophobia popping. Do we see any value? Walking back towards him. Craze is holding on here, trying to make sure that Strangling Prison gets as much value, pulling out cooldowns, trying to get rid of those crystals there by Jabori, and there it is. Followed up, bang! Down we go with the Kraken impact. Daze gets one. Do we see more commitment? Out go those lamps there from Loki, and again onto the clones to reset. This is why it's very difficult to run that Loki into Bucky like this, as we will see time and time again, just saving these clones to buy more time for the ultimate and ready for the next fight.
Just crazy good patience. I don't know if you saw, but Mellow and Craze could have finished off Chime there, but they gave it to Daze to get the reset, and look at what he can do. The snipe from downtown and landing it on Stinkers. He gets one. Chime going in, though, to get Ricky out to swap it there, but Mellow getting Jabori. That's a pick they need to make it an even battlefield. Supernova off. There's fire rolling, but Daze keeps going. There's only one man on fire right now, and his name is Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that was some really, really good patience. The last millisecond launching that out and finding value, getting a pick early on. Could not be more picture perfect if you are playing Bucky. Ult advantage now goes to Nemesis with a great defensive position here so far. 2 minutes 10 on is plenty of time, though, for Dreamland, as we do see we are ready with the end song Inferno, and we're very close to the dance floor here from Valentina. Ricky can match that right back in Dinks as well. So ult advantage for the strategist is going to be just barely on the side of Nemesis for this fight. Scatter is close, and so is Craze. Melophobia falls, though. Stinkers is going to find one. Ricky goes down. Stinkers again is holding on, as at this point Dreamland now has the aggressive position, and here we go with the end song. Boom! Down goes two. Beautiful play by Dreamland.
Truly the encore of the end song. Chuckles, they used a lot to get that point, but hey, well worth it there. Going in for the full reset. They do have Ricky and Scatter going in, so I like what they have. Daze, we know that every Kraken has a name, and he knows every single one. What we just saw what that's able to do. Most importantly, though, Chip, they took so much time off the clock there in what was a pretty long fight. Minute and 19 seconds here, exactly what they needed to do after a pretty tough point 1. Chime now going for the quick poke. We do have the captain activating. Scatter trying to seduce early here. Interesting scatter usage, but Mellow gets the pick, and that is all important here, and what is going to force this team to now back up and kind of reset unless they can get another one to trade.
They're committing the ult through it with a minute left. Is Jabori now going to pull out the dance floor? Maze with the Psionic. Can they follow up? Might see a damage boost switch here shortly. Out we go with the Supernova. Now from Melophobia. Mace not able to get too much. Does get a few. Walking with the Psionic Seduction there. Still holding on to ult is Daze. Can we see a big Kraken impact once more? Up we go with the Kraken. Will it find value? It does. Down goes Stinker. Jabori onto Scatter, though, even in the numbers. We still have that ultimate up. Will they be able to get more? And there go. Oh, what a strength. Prison now. Mace gets two, though, to not allow it to get too much value. Daze gets one, but it does not matter as Mace and Chuckles clean up the rest, and they do get point 2. Dreamland able to hold on.
Incredible awareness, Chip. I mean, are you kidding me? You have Daze doing like a cinematic moment going up right before the tornado goes down. Does get the pick, but can't roll on past Stinkers, which was surprising, especially after that entangled prison comes. They've committed 24. Thought they were going to get more out of it, but Dreamland does hold firm here now as Chuckles pushing ahead, getting something going early, looking towards what they've got. They have Stinkers, they have Chuckles. That's going to be a lot to get through the stairs here. And there we go. Chuckles activating, being that Avenger, leading the way for his team. But no, Days, my goodness. He got the mobility off on what was probably a jump.
Yeah, that is brutal. May's gonna find a kickoff map there on Craze, and that's that part of the map I was referencing prior. A very strong Emma position here, evening the numbers. Both Vanguards down, coming back quickly with the spawn. Spawn advantage should be slightly on the side of Nemesis now. There's that good positioning, trying to find a kick, but no, does not able to make it happen. But Scatter falls here with some great focus there. A little bit of overcommitment. Chuckles finds Dinks. Mace now onto Days, and that is a lot of pressure walking towards point 3. Melophobia in a dangerous position. Chuckles out of the sky. Cap with the shield. That is a wild look now, as it is very close to point 3.
Rookie dancing up the stairwell there, something you don't see often. And look how fast this thing is going. They need to touch if they want anything rolling. They do get the lanterns out. That's going to be pretty clutch here. We've got the Armored Daggers cracking up, making an impact down, but Mace trades with Stagger. And wow, okay, just like that, touch the point, it's over. Everybody off.
Wow, Dreamland walking that through. Point 2 was a struggle for them, but once they got their feet moving, they did not stop. Even after losing that freedom charge early on from Chuckles, who was just trying to take some space there with that ultimate. So once again, Dreamland woke up from this dream, and they are walking through looking like a whole new team after map 1.
Bro, I can't believe they lost, so it doesn't matter ultimately. But when Chuckles ults as Captain America, must have jumped, right? Because it was the energy vortex thing that like ended up picking him off. I don't know if it was low health or if it was able to cut the mobility and it drops like a rock afterwards. Either way, fun to see top level play here. And yeah, great job overall from Dreamland. Really, you know, shaking a bit in phase 2, but my gosh, that's what I'm talking about. You need to cut the time there. Because Ship, if they didn't, they would have just waltzed on in to the point. They did so easily here now as we find Nemesis on the offense, and they're going to have to show up to make this thing 2-0. But we both predicted 1-1 for this exact reason.
Yeah, I mean, I really think the struggle there for Nemesis was losing point 1 that quickly, just finding an immediate pick, not even the attempt of the portal back. I think this is a very strong Strange portal map for the retake, and they were not able to get there in the slightest, and I'm just double checking bans now to make sure Strange was not banned out, and I do not believe Strange was. So just a insane, you know, attack there by Dreamland through point 1.
Yeah, and then force like the ult there. They had to climb the stairs out of position. Then at that point, they're able just to go in and finish the rest here as Chime is showing the absolute demon he is there on Johnny Storm, creating that storm for the team. Gotta love the 1-2 punch that they have rolling now. Now, looking forward, the plan of attack, they would stick to similar compositions. And shout out to Valentina Eve. You know, you've got the Johnny Storm. You'd expect Sue to help with a little bit of the team up, but the Luna has been clutch for them in what has been these tight team fights.
Yeah, and we will start once more in these fights. You notice how everyone is staying on the height here. Looks very different than what you might see as you're climbing ladder right down that center choke, which is a very difficult position to push through. This now opens the map up, and it has eyes looking in 2 different directions. Chime able to use that to try to buy more time, but Scatter is going to find Chime early. Can they follow up with that momentum? Wow, how is Craze still holding on and not being KO'd at like 2 HP there. Comes back heavy now with some good healing. Is going to start placing those walls to just shut down lines of sight, LOSs, if you will. Yes, just like that to ensure they can do enough damage onto Mace as Mace falls. Jabori goes down, and this might happen right back at him as Nemesis now is looking lights out on this attack.
Super clean, and you're right. Craze's health bar was like a DJ's BPM. It was going up and down like the beat. Now we've got the portal coming in. They're going to try to touch. We did not see this in the side of Nemesis when they had the defense rolling, and this is why you do it, right? You just get a little bit of a stall, and it could be enough, but a little too late. They used the portal, and unfortunately not gonna stall more than a couple seconds here, Ship. 5 minutes. We got ourselves a match 2.
Yeah, this is crazy. I do think the portal was worth it, right? Any amount of seconds you can burn off the clock can matter, especially when you see some of these maps and, you know, to see the team touching with literally 3 seconds left. So 5 seconds may be, you know, all it takes to get a win. So not a bad idea there. Scatter gonna find Maze, who maybe overextends just a little bit too much there. Falling back now as a team. They are gonna have to retreat back towards point, but no, Dink's gonna pull out the dance floor to match it right back. And the damage move, Days with a quadra coming in, looking for 5. and that is a nutty combination with a damage boost there from Dinks. Beautiful combo as Craze commits that strangling prison, but you gotta remember that is 3 ultimates. The only upside is that the dance floor was out prior to this combo. Sometimes using too many ults, if you're just using the ult for the damage boost there, it may be a, may win you that fight, but you lose future fights after that. But no, having that dance floor just matched from the side of Valentina and then getting a quadra from Daze was beautiful, but we might see an early pick against him right here.
Yeah, they're using everything, and I love the aggression of Nemesis just getting exactly that. They match show for show and get it done. Jabrori, Chuckles, Mace all activating at the same time, but right now, nothing is changing. Here comes the end song, and it is just an absolute nothing burger from the old show of fireworks right now as Nemesis is staying alive through the chaos. Supernova, though, does come down. Chime finding one. Ricky being a big one at that now. Throwing down, going down, and does find another pick there on Dinks. Both strategists out. The team's going to fold. Great job here from Chime to keep this thing together. I'm still getting over Shib, the 4-piece from Daze.
And it's matched right back here by Torch, and we all know how strong Torch can be. There has never been a game besides, I believe, one on my eyes where the team has not elected to match the Torch if available and still, was able to get the W. Torch is an incredibly strong, especially when you still have Invis and Luna on the table. Just so much pocket potential there, especially with your escapability like that. And now you see Nemesis, the whole team taking the long side angle here instead of that short turn. Make sure you take that into ladder. These are those small things that are going to help you understand how to win these fights. Now you have a long line of sight that you can play around down there instead of having to take that tight turn. So smart play and beautiful play here by Nemesis. Stinker's able to escape from that with around 30 HP. So good positioning and great eyes by the strategist lines. Walled off here now. Chime going to use that damage to burn down the walls as we see Psionic now launched out. One gets walking, 2 as Mace gets Ricky. Melaphobia finds Chuckles. Chime on to scatter, and that should be enough for Dreamland to hold on for longer.
That stops all the momentum, right? Because they were just about to set up the Wombo combo. You saw it coming, the old Daze repeat special with the Strangling in Prison. But yeah, I mean, it's a fire Pokemon getting it done right now with Human Torch and Phoenix just lighting the team up. Being able to survive just barely Stinkers really helped the team out and keep that momentum strong. Going in now, Valentina does got the ult as well. That's going to help at least get through what it's going to be. Is certainly, I mean, I don't think Craze has missed one of these imprisons yet. So we'll see if he can make it now, 3 for 3 as they move in here. Trying to get early damage down. Chime going down, making the campfire snack. He finds 2 and burns him to a crisp.
Both strategists, are you joking me? Melaphobia finds 1. Mace gonna get 2 more. It's definitely reset time if you're looking for the side of Nemesis. They are gonna hold on to every ult, but at this point, Dreamland now is virtually there with them. It's about this next fight and this next fight only. Can they outperform with a slight ult advantage of 2 ults here? Both strategists ready on both sides. It's about how many can they counter now in this fight. Chime holding on to the Supernova, but we know how strong, like you had mentioned, Craze can be with enough focus through that strangling prison, especially with Human Torch able to jump on top of that group hug.
We have 5 minutes on the clock now, and it does not matter. We're down to 1. We've got Supernova going into the seduction. We'll see if they're able to put something together here as Chime throwing down, putting the pressure out, and it's Mello trying to fight it. This is going to be the trade and the animation cancel battle in the air. It's the Johnny v. Johnny in a multiverse battle as they go on. We have Valentina matching the show. Ricky goes up with the invisible boundary. Here's the prison. Down with the Kraken. Can he make it 4 or even 1 as they push in? Dinks trades on Stinks. Daze going to Mace, and it's looking like Team Nemesis is going to win this trade battle. Oh, but we've got an ult coming up here with Jabrori. Oh my goodness.
Valentina with the snipe on Daze in the sky. Craze gonna find Valentina right back though. And now we've got Groot gonna start walling off the back line and focus heavy onto that Luna looking up into the sky. Good retake here by the side of Dreamland who group up together. And there is that Psionic once more. Craze very close to, scatter though on a Mace to shut that down quickly. Getting rid of those lamps. Cool very fast. And it looks like they're a meter away, but they find another pick. Craze now matching it right back. It's anyone's fight. Valentina on a Melaphobia. And that is just such a crazy hold. Chuckles on a Craze. Is this going to go back towards Dreamland? What a fight here. Another pick onto Ricky. Daze onto Valentina. Chime onto Daze. What is going on right now? And that should do it. Dreamland bringing this OT down to milliseconds. Will it end? It does. Dreamland on the defense.
effectively winning 3 freaking fights there, Ship. I mean, they won the first, goes into the second, Portal comes first. Mace doesn't even need to Portal back yet before Daze is in. Doesn't matter. Even with the pick you saw from Scatter, they were able to trade efficiently and just lock down. Point 2, nobody's getting in to Dracula's castle at this point. My gosh, what did we say, buddy? 1-1. Here we go, grand finals.
We had drawn it up right before this match that they would turn this around, because that is what Dreamland can do. And that second point, 5 minutes, like you had mentioned, is obscene. That is a wild hold at this level of play. Although I do think that is a defensible position. Look at some of these stats right now. 25 for Chime. Wow. Daze obviously was 16 there on the Bucky. We saw 4 of those from one ultimate instantaneously, but Chime really showing up. 32k damage, most in the lobby. 25 finals. Really well done.
Yeah, only 199 fire making here. It's Chime with the 25. That's exactly what you want. Hey, listen, who was it? Who was it that saved the Human Torch? It was Nemesis, right? They wanted that battle in the air. They believed in their guy. And at this point in time, at least, I mean, it was about the picks. We can't underplay, Shib, how insane that was. The quick double limb there. That was essentially stopping not only the first momentum fight, but the second. And then at that point, you're on the third, time's down to under 60 seconds, and everything kind of folded under the table after that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, we saw some ult advantage fights not go their way. We saw strategists. I think I got to show some love here. I definitely got to show some love to Jabori and Valentina. In that final fight, they got away with a ton with those ultimates, countered a ton. Obviously, Valentina fell towards the end, but Jabori was still holding on to that ult. So it's all about patience and making sure you are the quote-unquote better ultimate, launching that, second, making sure you have a few more seconds on the clock after the fact. And they definitely did just that. And instead of falling at the end of their ults, they retreated towards the team, reset as a unit, came back and beat the team even through a portal play. So that was some wild defense here on the side of Dream.
Yeah, that was some of the top defense that we've seen in the MRC thus far. Chuckles really turning it up to 11 there in the last fight too, just chasing down, ensuring no one gets back. And Valentina Eve, multiple times now, #1 on the entire leaderboard with an olive ladder. And this is not just a one-time coincidence. Valentina often, they're at the top and just showcasing how lethal they can be on the strategist position. And overall, looking at it, Team Comp gets it done, and it's going to be Nemesis falling to what was dominating Dreamland. 1-1 Ship, exactly how we hoped for.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw in the replay there, Stinkers with that one dive, finding two strategists, I mean, that kind of value is wild. That just wins the fight instantly for your team. At that point, play slow and try to buy more time. If they lose 2 strategists instantly like that, I hope they try to stall. You know what I'm saying? So that was those small wins like that are game-winning small wins. And at this level of play, the smallest little take, the smallest advantage, alting early and, losing someone early in the fight is everything. And it's very difficult to come back from. And Dreamland really capitalized on those small wins.
Yeah, winning in the neutral. We saw that multiple times with him. And not only that, I want to shout out also Mace's huge seduction that he got prior to that fight happening. He got a 5-piece, I believe, on that. And that was when they had the Strangle in Prison and the Kraken Impact. And then they just kind of finished it off, right? They were able to just completely get rid of that game plan. And then the comms are crazy, right? Everything's trying to reset. You have a minute left. People are yelling. It just completely got them off their flow, what was looking pretty good. I've never seen 5 minutes disappear so fast there, though, in Central Park.
Yeah, I mean, I just glanced over at the stats again. 46 limbs there for Chime. I mean, obviously, when you are running Torch in this composition, everything is up looking at you, right? But it is difficult to actually run a Torch and find that much value, especially as Jabori made the switch to Loki. Loki doesn't really succeed very well in landing heals in the sky. So being able to perform at that level, even with the Loki switch, is wild. So I'm sure we're going to see more of this craziness. Maybe we'll see Torch banned. Maybe we'll see, Emma banned. But we'll find out what the changes are going to be right after this break.
Trapping all those fighting souls, but yet across the world I see you standing in my way. And remember the time, the place we used to fight, like the sun and moon. And I wonder if ever there was a time that we.
Hello.
Greetings. Greetings.
You cannot hurt me. I was merciful. Crawl back to your domain, Hela.
In this timeline, the machines will rule.
Embrace, the doctor has conjured a portal. Ultron is like a plague. We must be the cure. A disappearing act. You are under my spell. Pure chaos!
We are done chasing spiders. We have bigger enemies to conquer. You're ours now. Time to toughen up. We are Venom!
The other guy's been doing a lot of talking for me. You remember old Eddie?
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Marvel Rival Championship Season 3. It's Sunday night, Chip, and we are here not on football, but with the Grand Finals. It's 1-1, buddy, and I'm excited to get into Match 3. Do you think they shake anything up? What do you think we see heading into that matchup?
Yeah, you and I were talking a bit in the quote-unquote green room here about what we expect in terms of changes. I mean, I'm going to just call out here for Nemesis. You know, they locked in that Punisher. You know, they locked in which I think was a bit of a struggle for them, the Human Torch, that just did not work out for them. I think we see some changes on that front from the side of Nemesis. But do you expect anything different from Dreamland? I know you were talking a little bit about that, Emma, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if we see, we might see Nemesis banned out, Emma, potentially. They go with the Psylocke, though. They do not want to give, I'm telling you, you guys did not get to see it as much, but stinkers on Psylocke was something to witness. And that was a big front into 3-0 that happened last time in the upper bracket. Jean Grey going to get protected again. Kind of, see, they're confident. Even with what just happened there with Mello versus Chime, didn't matter. They were able to, they want that torch save, and I respect them for it.
Yeah, sometimes it's not like, you know, I think we all kind of fall in the pattern when we see a stat line difference, you know, to blame it on the opposition, right? Because there's a lot of mirror matching, and you like to say, oh, you know, this torch is clearly played better. It's a team game. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, whether it's distraction, for example, from a cap on your backline, making it so your strategist can't look up at the torch, et cetera, et cetera. All that stuff, you know, vastly impacts stat line. So that's why instead of necessarily looking at the stats for how a game played out, it's always worth watching that replay and seeing how the teams performed in various team fights. But yeah, we're going to see that lock in again from the Emma for the side of Mace, who played very well, had some really huge Sonic seductions, and getting rid of that Daltron is no, surprise to us.
Yeah, that's a great point, honestly. And if we look back at it, I think the Winter Soldier was played well by Days, which is going to be Melo's kind of flex immediately. Obviously, he can play Punisher too. We saw that. And they are going to lean into that as Punisher does get locked right away. Love to see that play. Now, when Dreamland did have access to Emma the last time we played Domination in the upper bracket was at Wakanda, but they did have Psylocke, and that was out of hand, right? So this time they have the Emma. Mace is comfortable on that Vanguard for sure. And Valentina showcasing why they can flex so easily, right, from the Luna now and going back to the hometown comfort. Stinkers on Jean Grey's fun to see. I'm wondering if we are going to get the Hulk Namor that we see so often here. And yes, we do in Domination. Just such a strong duo in this game mode.
Yeah, I mean, I am surprised to not see Torch, at least so far in the beginning of the lineup. Maybe is not a favorable map for him, at least in this specific lineup here on Celestial Husk on this Domination. But I'm curious to see if that changes up. I know that some of these maps are favorable to Torch and Flyers, and then some are just simply not. So we'll see here as we open up, just getting eyes on which one we're running. But I think, I like this composition. It seems more comfortable for the side of Nemesis, as I think they're going to be running the Gun Brothers when it has Punisher and Bucky. And yeah, as you see Days and Melophobia here, that is the plan. Match with Craze over on the Groot and Scatter on the Emma as we start up now.
Yeah, Crash usually goes out at Hulk in these moments. Chuckles, though, matched it so well last time they fought. So like we said with the Days flex, they're just going in with a different approach, right? Going in with a different approach for this team, and it led to success on that first map. Second one didn't go their way on the P2 there. But looking forward, these teams clash, and Days on that Bucky. Like you said, the Gun Brothers, great way to go about it to get that Hulk taken down quickly and looking to hit these grabs. Those are going to be huge as Melo's great at them, but Days is in the captain's chair now for Winter Soldier as the teams are going to clash.
Yeah, so the tricky part with Hulk is he really struggles into a ton of raw damage, like you mentioned, but as a backline, your job is to just really pocket that Hulk and allow him to just do what Hulk does, take a ton of space quickly and be a threat to everyone in front of him. He actually deals the most damage up close in that melee range compared to virtually anyone in the game. So that one-on-one is very difficult if able to make that happen, but Jabori falls early here, and this is a Team Nemesis advantage. Chime going to be running. Ooh, that Namor finds Days right back and puts the numbers even as Nemesis is holding on to point. At this point, Chime with a really good position is getting driven backwards a little, but is not going to have too much pressure on.
Nobody noticed Chime. He was like blended to the blue there. You see the Namor just like hiding in with the blessings of the deep. But yeah, I don't think Jabrori saw Melo as he was going to go and swap with the clone on the high ground, but Melo found him right before. He was able to get that clean pick, and that opened up the lane for Team Nim now to get this first cap. And going in with the Strangling and Prison right away. Days, though, with the quick Elim on Stinkers. Nothing from it. They are forced to use Valentina, her ult there, a little bit back from the point. So a W either way you look at it there. They didn't get the combo, but they did waste the ult.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I think Chime falling there that late in the fight was like a really delayed stagger, and then forcing out the ult from Valentina after the fact. This is just a lot of small wins here from Nemesis. I mean, you have mentioned, oh, wow, the Chuckles with a great right click on a Melophobia there right after that conversation. But these small wins are everything, and I think that start was very strong as we come here to break all this equipment very fast. Stinkers onto Ricky and Dinks again with a double strat line takeout is huge for Dreamland, not having to commit too much again. And what a retake. I did not expect that at this point. It's just stall on point as long as possible.
So much to call out there. I mean, you had the massive lantern that kept the entire team alive from Dinks on Loki, but then it didn't matter because they had the follow-up right after that, right? Only so much you could survive, and bam, comes the end song to... it feels like they always fall together, Ship. It's like, at least this one strategist not going to make it out as Chime really shining here. As we've seen them do before, Chuckles just being a demon on the Gamma God. Look at these angles that Chime's taken. This is what you love to see from the duelist. Being away from the team, trying to get those picks early. We do have Shatter going early with the final judgment. They've got to come away with the W here on this team fight.
Days finds Chuckles, though, and that's going to put them up. They're committing a lot of resources here, Nemesis, but honestly, Dreamland still down in ultimate at this moment, but we do see the launch now from Ricky. Can they keep the pressure on? Nemesis trying to take this point back quickly. 38% and climbing for the side of Dreamland. Oh, good play there by Scatter, who finds one. Stinkers goes down. We are seeing more commitment here from Dreamland, just trying to stall the point. I don't think that's a horrible idea. Valentina just maintaining this position. It's all about trying to get to that number, that 70% for a one team fight win, and they're still still holding on here as Mace now puts Craze in a dangerous position. That's a two-piece onto Melophobia as well. Mace looking for more, and what a good decision there by Valentina to stall so the team can retake as a unit.
Yeah, you said it best there. Sometimes these decisions are made that people don't even notice, and that was the one that kept the heartbeat going, even through the strangling in prison. That is absolute chaos there from Mace, just being ice cold in the veins that White Queen is. Now pushing forward already. Love it. Chime ready to rock and roll. Looking at the ultimate. Chime does have Giganto. He throws it out. No connection. You do have the lanterns to keep everybody alive, but you burn an important cooldown chip.
Yeah, the fish can be dangerous, but not when all these cooldowns are up. Out we go with a Psionic. This is looking dangerous. No shields in front. Melophobia goes down. Chime, that's enough value. Make it 2-3 as Stinkers takes out Dinks and Daze. Scatter falls to the side of Chime, but Scatter takes out Jabori first. That does not matter now. 95-96, and it looks like they are likely touching, or they will touch based on what I'm seeing. Maybe not. They do not.
I mean, that was such perfection there, right? They used the whale to bait out a lot of cooldowns, then follow up with the quick seduction and the finish with the end song, and they already pushed up. Nobody at that point can even get to the touch, and that is as clean of a finish as you want to see there from Dreamland, looking dominant. My shout out goes to Mace there, just on that particular matchup, getting the Emma to get through the strangling in prison and then finishing off the job where they were down numbers. Valentina as well, stalling the point, like you said.
Yeah, I think there was some huge, very micro that turned into macro plays, right? Like that stall was massive. I think Mace's Psionic was enough to just guarantee the win on that point. We're going to see a portal play here from Mace, and it looks like Chime is going to set up some. This, this could be for the armor packs. I don't believe it is, no, because we do not have. If this is funny, we don't actually have the rocket. So instead, they're going to try to do a kidnap play off the rip and use that portal cooldown, which will be back by the end of this map. So big brain play again by Dreamland. If they can pull this off and find a kidnap, they'll run right through the other side, right to the point, and get a little bit of an advantage. And those small plays, again, are what you're looking for if you want to take this win at this level of play.
Yeah, we saw them try to do this last time on Domination against Nemesis, and they kind of backed out of it, right? So they're really looking for the angle, and they found it easily with the bait switch and a little bit of abracadabra magic. Beautiful.
That was insane. That might have been one of the kidnappers of all time with a three-piece, and they're following up, getting some more staggers as Melophobia falls now. One gets traded as Valentina goes down, but wow, they get the point early. They have pressure, and that was some serious work there. What a kidnap by Mace.
Oh my goodness, absolutely insane. You have the force pull there from Valentina if she wants to use it right into the thermal detonators of the spider nest here, but Jabori gonna keep the gas press all the way down. They've got Chuckles now on the Monster Hulk, but it goes into the Scatter Seduction. Great way to stall a lot of that Game of God, and they melt it down pretty quickly there. Wow! Down from 1,000 to 0 goes Chuckles, and look at Mello with the great positioning, trying to get on Chuckles early, wasting those squids. You've got the whale going down, both invisible boundaries to touch at the exact perfect time is Team Nemesis there with Ricky. Great awareness. Stinker's going down to Daze, and this is a good switchback now as the Team Nemesis is able to keep this point contested and looking like they're going to take it back.
Yeah, Dinks and Daze, Melophobia as well. One call out again is notice, folks, how every time you see Melophobia trying to get in a fight there with Chime, those squids are the first priority. Namor without a squid is significantly less threatening. And at this point, they're looking like they're going to try to stall and make sure they take out Chuckles as late as possible, who is now going to try to off map. And there goes Chuckles finally, but great stagger there. But again, that idea of breaking the equipment first and making sure that Namor is far less threatening is how you need to take on that 1v1. So well done there. Something to take into your games. Nemesis up in alts as we head into this next fight.
Yeah, that great call out there, Ship, right? Just the patience that we keep seeing from these players is one of the biggest things. That, you know what? Some of this can be done on team level, but that's an individual skill you can learn here in Rivals on ladder now as teams pushing forward. Daze does have that Kraken impact ready to go down. Craze, though, did not get the connection they're looking for, unfortunately, and I like the patience there from Daze. Now going Mello goes down, the ult fired up. Judge, no jury, or executionership.
The judge and jury were there. The executioner was not, as Daze finds Stinkers now to even the odds a little bit, and that is a duelist down on both sides. Melophobia will have a bit of a spawn advantage coming in hot here as the team is pushing forward, but now they're going to have to drop back. Roughly similar percentage, almost 60 now for the side of Nemesis. Dreamland playing very aggro. Out goes those lamps early. Melophobia taking a fair amount of damage, does drop backwards, and here we go. Daze looking for one, going into the boundary, going to elect to not use it, and out goes the whale that does not land. Match on both sides, but Chime still finds value into Dinks. Up we go, using that shift. Jabori now onto Ricky, Chime onto Daze, and that should be enough for Dreamland to take this point and try to get their percentage evened out. 80% here for Nemesis.
disastrous though in ult economy. I mean, you had not only Craze his ult go to nothing, right? Mellow judge and dies, and then you've got the Kraken impact that quite literally has no impact except for trying to escape. And great boundary there, just being aware of that. But I like the use of the escape, but getting nothing out of the ults was tough on that fight. But yep, 80% to give, right? They do need to win this fight. But they lost very similar to this just a moment ago, right? They lose this team fight, and then we've seen over and over Dreamland pushes in, and they can't touch. So we have to see what they can do with not a lot of ults to the name.
And we start once more, folks, as Dreamland up in alt. Chuckles finds one early. The young prodigy, if you will, the 16-year-old gets an early pick, and that is a W. Back onto point. Jabori holding on here to the copy. We've got Craze ready with the Strangling Prison as well. Who's going to get more value? Numbers down again for the side of Nemesis, but they're still trying to retake this point quickly as 85 is on the clock here for Dreamland. Everybody committing everything now in this next fight. We'll see who gets more value. Stinkers applying that pass into everyone, and down goes Daze now. 2 numbers falling. Make that 3 here as Valentina gets a pick. And that is big work. Chuckles onto Dinks. And they are going to find the second map likely, unless this portal is massive from the side of Daze.
Yeah, they don't even have any bodies, though, to left to contend here. Oh, my goodness, they touch just barely. They get down the Strangling Prison. Craze. What a clutch way to get the team at least through the portal, but Daze going down quickly. Mace with the quick elimination. Chime to follow. Chime trying to hunt, but we have the invisible boundary. Up, down goes all of it. Mello getting a pick on Mace, so to even the odds quite a bit. Mello looking for another pick to try to get this team back in it. The Judge, Jury, and Executioner all on display here. Ricky with the boundary, and Chuckles is hiding at the top. Well, chaos unfolds. Mello with the 3, and they're able to take it back. Shib, are you kidding me?
Wow. I mean, you know, down 2 numbers there early on in that fight for the side of Nemesis, still with a huge scatter there. Psionic Seduction matched immediately by the final judgment that gets a 3-piece, but they just allow them to take that point right back here, setting up and allowing that portal to come through. They've got to make sure they make that touch happen. They will do that. They have alts coming very shortly here on the side of Nemesis with Daze with the Eye of Agamotto. Will that get value? That is going to be the determining factor on if they can win this. Portal's now gone. It makes this next fight a game winner for them if they can make it happen. Here comes the whale. Does it land? Giganto does not get a pick though. And there is the end song. Mace gets a pick onto Scatter. Now Eye of Agamotto goes out. Mace shields it. Mace gets 2. Melaphobia to Valentina. Stinkers gets Daze, and that'll do it as Dreamland takes map 2.
With the ore farm finish, the Agamotto for the exclamation point. My goodness, what a chaotic in there. The quick imprisonment to get the team through the portal to flip the script. But wow, great counter portal in a sense coming back there from the team and staying alive and getting through it. Great in song too, just to capitalize what just happened. Wow, Ship. I mean, even just even where you think it's just a clean 2-0, it can never just be that easy now as Dreamland, who was down 1, go up 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm looking for in a finals here. These teams are very well matched, and it's very back and forth in virtually every fight. You know, you saw how close that second map was, and you look at the stat lines of some of the Vanguards, and you may be thinking to yourself, how is that possible? That's why stats do not tell a story, you know, or the story, if you will. It can tell a story, just maybe not the right one, but, you know, it's a tough look there. A lot of damage out, a lot of, you know, when you have Phoenix on the table, running the group can be difficult sometimes. A lot of damage out there, especially with that end song, breaking all your walls, all your work, all your setup, and, you know, not allowing Craze to get a ton of value. 0 finals there is tough. Chime with 14 there on the Namor is, you know, is enough to really ensure they get that win.
Now, this is how we saw things kind of get out of hand last time, and it was Craze that ended up having a bit of a struggle against this team, you know, and honestly, though, you know, obviously not to highlight one player, there just was not a lot of ult combinations there that I loved. Heck, even at the end when they got the point, you know, it wasn't great. There was not a lot of synergy between it. And that's what you hope gets cleaned up here. Domination for Dreamland has just seemed like their best game mode. They don't even flinch at all. The Emma save, you know, I like the sidelock ban. You have to get rid of that. But you can only allow so much. And when you're giving someone like Chime Phoenix, you've got to ensure to take some bit out of that team, some of that spark. And they've yet to find it. I mean, this is definitely going to be a tough uphill battle. We've seen what Nemesis can do. But Dreamland, they seem warmed up, buddy.
Yeah, I agree. We had that conversation here, you know, prior to this map starting, saying that I think they're going to be woken up a little bit, and that they, you know, there was just some mental mistakes on game 1 that have not been happening since. In fact, they're really utilizing those cooldown advantages with things like Strange. I mean, that 3-piece kidnap off the rip you know, maybe that won them the game. Maybe that gave them enough percentage early on. We talk about getting the point early, winning them the game. So stuff like that is massive. So just big brain plays there for the side of Dreamland.
Yeah, you love to see the ingenuity, and we see this a lot with this team. I mean, they tried it there on Clintar, and they, you know, kind of can't reveal all of your tricks right away because people do their homework, and then you can tell they did a bit there on that map. But it worked out there with the pole, and my goodness, yeah, what an absolute crazy beginning of that matchup. You know, I think there's plenty of things to kind of look at when you're looking at this next match going into round 4, and it's best of 7, right? This has a lot of time for teams to adjust to try to win the crown of that MRC shib. But hey, we'll have to see, man. What do you want to see change in the pick ban phase though for match 4?
See, I think that the thing that happened there after the loss by the side of Nemesis is they didn't change their ban phase at all. It was the exact same locks, the exact same bans. In my personal opinion, although I do think, you know, it was just a tough point 2 for them, and maybe that's what the conversation was for them. It was like, you know, we just struggled on point 2. It was nothing that was on the ban phase, and maybe that's what they were saying. But me personally, as a team, I'm looking to make a change there. Maybe not allowing that Emma to come through, and or, you know, trying to find something that can disrupt the flow of the team, especially after they're coming through that high, you know, of winning that map and feeling confident. You just got to try to disrupt it. So we need to see a change in the bans.
Yeah, and I think Chuckles really turned it up to 11 on that match in particular, too. He was kind of heating up, I saw in Central Park, and just coming into his own. You said the young prodigy. I mean, I was not doing this at 16 years old, man. I was yeah, playing a point-and-click adventure, RuneScape or something. But yeah, I got to say, the way that Shime and him were able to lock in, and you know, I love the approach that they were trying to go with on Nemesis, but it just seemed to, you know, yes, it's a team game, but there's micro battles, and I think Chuckles got the last laugh on a lot of that. But yeah, looking towards what they can change, what they can do. I personally, I'm a big fan of Mello on the Winter Soldier. I hope kind of returning to the roots, but he can play anybody. It's getting the whole team set up. Punisher obviously was working a little bit for them, right? But yeah, the ults were just a mess, I think, from start to finish.
Yeah, Mello had, you know, it was 17 nights, still 11 finals, which is, you know, really well done on that Punisher. We saw some big plays with ultimates as well. But yeah, we're going to see what needs to be changed here very soon, right after this short break.
Hello.
Greetings.
You cannot hurt me. I was merciful. Crawl back to your domain, Hela.
In this timeline, the machines will rule.
Embrace, the doctor has conjured a portal. Ultron is like a plague. We must be the cure. A disappearing cat. You are under my spell. Pure chaos!
We are done chasing spiders. We have bigger enemies to conquer. You're ours now. Time to toughen up. We are Venom.
The other guy's been doing a lot of talking for me. You remember old Eddie?
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the MRC Season 3. We find Dreamland versus Nemesis, and they are up 2-1 Shib. And we've seen Nemesis come from the lower final. Who is Dreamland, right? And it's a very fun story to look at, Shib, because we have this merging of two teams from the Ignite series. We have previously Citadel Gaming, right? We have two members from them, Mace and Valentina Eve. They, to get into Ignite mid-season, take out a team called Rank X. Their best player, name is Stinkers, gives them a try. Now brings him in, and then finally you merge the rest of what was Dark Zero with the team to complete what is now Dreamland as we head into round number 4. And Ship, I gotta point this out right away. I thought they might do this. Days out, they brought Amadian back in.
Yeah, you know, if it ain't working, change it up a little bit. Although it definitely worked map 1 for them, you know, it just hasn't been showing up the last 2 moments. I do think Days has played great, but clearly they want to see if they can get a different composition in here for Amadian. Days obviously had some huge alts too. We saw some, you know, big Bucky plays and Wolverine plays, so big love there. But I do think that's a great call out in terms of how these teams got put together. I think we're going to see a lot of that in these early stages of this pro scene and as these teams are developing, because there's so much talent, there's so much undiscovered talent, there's so much new talent coming to the game, especially with this much love in the pro scene. So a lot of shifting up. It's cool to see these teams coming together and find out their origin. And there goes that Emma. Like we said, had to see a change in the bans here, locking in that Wolverine. Goodbye to the Phoenix. This is the stuff that needed to happen if they want to try to take this W home.
Yeah, actually, I'm shocked. I thought Ultron was going to be the ban here. Last time, what they did, Ship, they banned out Madian's heroes, right? Punisher, first one off the board, and then they followed it with Ultron. And then at that point, that's where you had a bit of a shift on who they wanted to play. As we head into another domination, we just highlighted how well we've seen Team Dreamland play on that. They finally get their save of Magneto, who's been shut down the entire time up until this point. And with this save, do they go Ultron? Do they try to make something happen here for Madian? But then they've got the torch out, right? So that does change things. They go with the Mantis save, which does this now force... I don't know. Maybe they're playing head games here, but that's who I would expect to go with the band of Luna to finish up Nemesis's ban.
See, I think this is a much better chance at succeeding here for Nemesis. Yeah. I think that when you have... Oh, interesting. So they're actually going to leave the Ultron available here on Hell's Heaven Domination. Maybe not the most conducive flyer map. There's a couple... you know, actually, I think there's some pretty decent flying locations on this domination front, but... I think that the Mantis enables a ton of unique things. Like maybe if they wanted to run the Venom Hulk, you know, there's a lot of pressure, even with, I mean, I'm not seeing any huge combination here from their side on the side of Nemesis. So I'm curious, I guess maybe they won't even pull it out, but I like the idea that they don't want to run that Ultron. Apparently they want to elect to go back to that Groot Namor battle. They're going to keep that Loki, get rid of the Luna. So yeah, I don't know, man, this is interesting. I'm curious to see what they're doing here.
Yeah, Mello was locked in for the Wolf, got back out of it. I mean, we saw what Amadian was able to do against Atlanta Phoenix Guard, right? Staying alive forever, that it seemed like on the point when we did play on Celestial Husk previously. But we've got, oh man, we've got Chuckles and Chime, the 2Cs on Hulk and Namor. Very scary, deadly duo here. You've got also the team up there with Mantis and Loki. Stinkers has his Psylocke, dear God. I think Dreamland does have a team that they want to have through this. This is definitely going to be a bit scary.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm surprised. I think it's another one of those confusing ban situations, as it's funny because Dreamland is going to now try to make that happen with they're going to keep that Mantis on their side. It's not going to be run over here from Nemesis. So whatever their plan was for the composition, apparently it revolved around having that Groot, because that Groot was the ban, the reactive ban from Dreamland. So I'm curious what that means, or maybe we'll see a change up as the map changes here. But here we go, as we do get that match back and forth. Squids for days. It's all about who can get rid of those. Melophobia not going to be be on anything that can ruin those squids. Instead, going to be on the Wolverine. And we will see on the opposition a Psylocke, which is actually a pretty good job at burning those squids. And you talked about how good Stinkers is on that Psylocke. Tackle off the rip here onto Chime. Chime able to escape there with the shift. But Kraz with a tackle. Perfect timing. Chime goes down. That was beautiful there by Craze, who just walks right in. Valentina very low. Amadian with a two-piece now. Amadian a very, very strong Namor. Now going to get some time playing here as we head into map 4. Wow, what a sweep there by Nemesis.
Okay, in the NFL, they have scripted plays to start every single time off, right? I almost felt like that was scripted. They're like, okay, we need to kidnap there early on Chime, one of their best players, force the blessings of the deep, and then Craze just look for him in the air. And it was like cinema coming together there as they do the biggest walk of death there for the Hulk of Chuckles. That was such a well-implemented job from Melophobia and friends. Man, I'd love to see that from Team Name.
I actually thought Melophobia there was going to get the tackle onto the Barus just to stall for more time, but cooldown must have not been available as we start up again. The defensive side of Nemesis now going to hold here with these squids, and we talk about getting that point early and how successful that can be. Great off angle here from the side of Craze Mang, who's keeping that pressure on. Now looking towards Chuckles on the right side. There go the squids from Amadian, who finds some success onto Stinkers on the Psylocke. The weird trade between Psylocke here, oh my goodness, and Namor can make Psylocke struggle, but Psylocke does a pretty good job at burning those squids. As you see Psylocke there just explode Amadian before that all can even come through. Out we are, going to stall for as long as possible now, as we'll see ults up. Ricky, no more ult here, no more invisible boundary. Dinks gonna try to copy up Mace onto Melophobia now. Back onto the point. Dinks uses that ult, but it's not quite touching, but I guess it's enough for them to get some value onto Stinkers, and that's going to put them back in good numbers as Craze uses the all from Hulk now. Going to just apply more pressure onto the side of Mace, buying more time, and it's matched right back. Oh my goodness, Scatter does get the pick on Valentina. Goodbye, invisible boundary. A lot is working out over here for the side of Nemesis.
What has come from a stall has now turned into just domination on the mode itself. Great job and effort from everybody involved there. Love the job of trying to get something. Oh my goodness, they get a great kidnap. Melophobia finding Chuckles, throwing him right into the lava pit, and everything is clicking here for Team Nemesis. You could not ask for better after the jump scare from Stinkers. Thought things were going to go down. Does not. Oh, Dinks almost survives, but can't survive the burst damage from the X-Men. Psylocke in the swim attire now, looking for yet another one. Amadian forced to use and pop the blessings of the deep, even though not the elimination. Great cooldown to get off focus. Chime, though, going a little overextended and caught off guard there. Tritons are thrown. One, make it two. Amadian the sub back in. We get now this Psylocke X-Men v X-Men, and oh my, Amadian make it three. He's doing it himself, and the point goes to Nemesis.
That was lights out play. I mean, there's nothing else to say. That was gorgeous. Everything going their way. A lot of just very patient and strong ultimate play and picks, even through Stinkers finding some couple picks prior to every fight. I mean, that is a clean 100-0 there for the side of Nemesis.
I was gonna say, tell me like one highlight from Dreamland there. Outside of like Stinkers doing the jump scare, like I don't think there was anything I could highlight individually. Mace got a nice little hit in the sky, but yeah, that was absolute locked in perfection. And man, it is a team game. And having, yes, you know, he did play the lower bracket with him, but having Amadian just jump in like this, right, and perform to that level, right? Subs, no one likes to be benched. Doesn't matter the role you play, right? You know, you always believe in yourself, right? And so Amadian coming in here and be like, I'm that guy. I'm gonna come in here, deliver my role, and he did so.
Yeah, we've seen that in the past. Give me the ball, coach, right? If you're confident and you want to get in the game and make something happen, I'm putting you in the game, right? You need that kind of confidence, especially as a duelist. Amadian coming in hot now. Ult advantage just barely up for the side of Jabori on Dreamland, but you're going to have Scatter and Amadian with ults before this fight even starts. So actually advantage roughly just barely on the side of Nemesis, as Stinkers will be there soon. Going to need to have something to counter that on the back line. Likely just trying to hold on to Dinks' crystals there for Loki, but here goes another attempt at a portal play from the side of Dreamland. This time it does not work out. Instead, it's just going to isolate that high side take so that they can own that height and hold the point. But will it work out for them as the whale comes out? Melophobia finds Jabori early. That's another now from Scatter on a Chime, and they shut down Jabori before Jabori can even copy up.
Mello really making this Wolverine work. I mean, Chuckles was a non-factor last match, and they forced now them to go into away from the Namor and Hulk team that worked so well. Just the domination to go. Same map, same mode, I mean, and they were able to now shut that down, and it just took a quick swap, a little bit of counter strategy, and that is why flexibility matters so much. Great job adapting to the portal. They're not going to get surprised by once, right? Fool me once, that's fine. Shame on me. Fool me twice. You know, got to figure that out. Now with the fastball special, ready to go at it again with the aggression. Love to see it, Shib.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very strong Wolverine map, especially when you're fighting on point, but at this point, they're just going to stall tight on the high side, not allow them up here. This is those fights that you maybe don't see in ladder, but as you climb, these off-angle plays, these height plays are everything, and that is some great crystals, but it doesn't matter as Mace goes down. Stinkers again onto Amadian, doing what Stinkers does here on this Psylocke, finding a ton of value, but is it enough to win this fight? Dance of the Cutterfly, ready, the Butterfly ready to make a play. I'm assuming we'll see that soon as we do see some of those cooldowns being popped. Nemesis with not much left here, as I say that Dinks is now officially out. Chime gonna find Dinks. Goodbye. 1-2 just like that. Out goes the boundary for the side of Ricky that's stalling and holding on. Craze, and the point is very close. Can they stall? We'll find out as Dreamland is still not able to get this point, but Stinkers finds Amadian once more.
I mean, I feel so bad for Dinks. The Lanterns, they're strong. Oh, my gosh, he goes down with the 1-2. Logan, they still have the point through all of the madness, through the picks of Stinkers, then the slam down. They use both duelists to get down Dinks. Now it's just crazy in the show. This is straight out of Avengers. I swear, with Loki getting pummeled. Absolute incredible finish. This is right now their map, the Hydra Factory. Listen, dude, I mean, you cannot script such a better comeback here to make this thing a potential 2-2. It's looking like it's all Nemesis here, 80% moving forward. Chuckles, Mace, Vanguard's on the ready. Can they swap this thing up?
I mean, I'm going to be honest. This is so dominant by Nemesis. Even Stinker's finding a few picks early on in the fight before the teams had even committed anything. Walking forward, still holding off the strategist, but then back on point. They're just popping off. You've got Melaphobia with a two-piece. You got Scatter with one. You got Crazeman getting it all in the back line. The fact that they're doing that without strategist being there is just a feat of just popping off with ults and making it work, even with no commitment. Melaphobia going to commit with Chime and take them both off the map. Why not when you're up like this? As Mace gets a pick there onto Scatter. Is that going to be enough? Exile immediately. Amadian in a dangerous position. Scatter is still down. We've got Stinkers falling from Amadian. Now the whale goes out. It lands. It does not find a pick just yet, but at this point it is milliseconds away from a W on the side of Nemesis that is still maintaining this position with an invisible boundary from Dinks.
Gotta keep touching the point here now as the invisible boundary goes with it. Jabrori ready, but is Daze trying to get by it? Finally gets it there with the undefeated copy of the Mantis now. At this point, just trying to keep this team in this fight here now. Mello getting closer as he does portal in, does 74% getting to that Agamotto, but Extermination coming out was delayed after the kidnap we saw from Mello. Popping in, but nothing from it right now. This is beautiful trades of sustain after sustain. Scatter going for the pick. He does get it, but traded by himself. Down goes Valentina. Chime with the trade. Stinkers goes from Dinks. It's looking like Team Nemesis is going to 99 it all.
Dinks just got a three-piece at the end of that for the win. What is going on? Nemesis woke up, came in with the sub, and popped off 100-0. They are playing different right now.
Yeah, a Crazeman did his best Hulk impression. You go and get 0 final hits on that last map, right? Hulk angry, Craze angry, and then he absolutely goes crazy. Ricky doesn't even die one time, Shib. Are you kidding me? This team played absolutely perfect. It's the grand finals. We knew it was coming 2-2, and let's take a look and just look at the stats, bro. Look at Krez, 10-0, 5 eliminations. I mean, that's what you want to see, the bounce back.
I mean, this is nutty. The entire team played so clean. You can see those final hits across the board. Dinks got a three-piece in that last fight, so he's going to have 4 finals, which is very wild to see. Obviously, Loki going to take a little bit of a hit here on the damage front and even healing front in the next patch, and that may have made that not as impactful, but I will say, very clean ending there. Ricky not falling a single time. Kraz on the Hulk not falling a single time. That is another call out. Great alt plays in the back line, very threatening at all times, especially in those tight corridors. That's where Hulk really can, succeed with those ults, forcing people down a single lane and just clapping through everyone. So beautiful play. Again, Mello with the 7. You got Scatter and Amadian with 6. They were all right on top of each other. Stinkers, though, did what Stinker could do, finding a lot of picks. It just did not work out.
Getting somebody comfortable, right, and taking advantage of it. We saw the pick ban. We're like, wow, Dreamland kind of has what they want from this, right? No, they had the swap the whole time. They knew Wolverine was going to be the play, right? Going in, absolutely perfect scripted. Could not have drawn it up better. And I'm telling you, Ship, yesterday, Stinkers was single-handedly winning this entire fight after fight for the team. And it was funny because even Nemesis, they looked good in some of the dominations yesterday, but then Stinker would just completely carry for the team, and they shut that down. I mean, he did start to get there a little bit. I mean, they even used the Kraken Impact with the dance of the butterflies, but the back half was fine. They were stalling. Absolutely perfect job from Nemesis there.
I mean, we got a 2-2 series on our hands. Could not have had the script writers write it any better for us, but as we move forward, I think personally, I thought the bans looked really good from Nemesis. I think it was just a change, and that's what they needed. You can't run the same thing twice and expect different results, especially because they were just, some of these stalls, 5-minute stalls on, on convoys and convergences are crazy. That's some real dominant performance on the defensive side. And I mean, I just got to say, they looked like a whole new team, and they made the subs right back, and it worked out for them.
And I want to shout out Madian because Madian yesterday had a tough time against this team. Had his heroes banned out. Even given the Namor just wasn't working out, but we saw it right there. Very comfortable. Had that warm up from the lower finals. Came off the bench, hot and ready, and they delivered on every level. And that's crazy. Pulling and playing the Hulk to the level that they did as well. And Chuckles, again, such a factor at the end of that last domination, right, on Celestial Husk. And then quite the opposite here as we hit the end of the Hydra Factory. But man, looking at it, I'm excited. I think both these teams can win the whole grand finals right here, right now, and go into Ignite with all that momentum.
Yeah, I think Hulk does a pretty decent job marking Cap. I think Emma's good at that as well, but Hulk, I think Hulk is good into Venom. I think Hulk is really good into Cap, especially at the top level. Just that Exile is incredibly impactful, and just the raw damage up close when you get onto those more divey front lines is very threatening, especially when you have Namor squids all around you also dealing damage. So I think we're going to see a change again from the ban side of Dreamland, but we'll have to check out what that change looks like right after this short break.
Holding on to your heart, look inside you. Can you feel it? The sparks in you. Add it up, unleash it all. Wake up, open your eyes, raising resistance, smashing through time walls. Before the rift, winter's yet again. We are rivals to the end. And rise up, open your mind, hold on to your powers. No one can stop us. We are rivals till the end of time.
Hello.
Greetings.
You cannot hurt me. I was merciful. Crawl back to your domain, Hela.
In this timeline, the machines will rule.
The doctor has conjured a portal. Ultron is like a plague. We must be the cure. Now, a disappearing act. You are under my spell. Pure chaos!
You're done chasing spiders. We have bigger enemies to conquer. You're ours now. Time to toughen up. We are Venom!
The other guy's been doing a lot of talking for me. You remember old Eddie?
What's going on, guys? Welcome back. We've seen these teams go head-to-head now 4 times. The result shipped 2-2, and the last 2 matches have been like under 10 minutes a pop. Both just firmly planted for the winner. First in Dreamland, then Nemesis with a great callback. And we said it, right? It came from that pick and ban phase. They finally shut down the Jean Grey. They shut down the Emma. That was huge.
Yeah, I think that was the change needed. The prior, we talked about how they were just struggling 2 maps in a row. It was the same exact bans. They changed nothing in their first ban and their locks and everything. It's worth changing up. I mean, I think you expose weaknesses maybe by accident or things they weren't expecting, and it really worked out. I mean, it was 100% to 0, at least on map 1, if I'm remembering correctly. And I don't know if they got a few percentage on 2 on the retake, but even so, certain people weren't going down. Crazy didn't go down a single time. We didn't see the invis fall. It was really clean play. They played confidently. Nemesis looked like they just bounced back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we talked about this here a second ago, but I just think it's insane that Rivals always lives up to this in the grand final moments. Like, we see it time and time again. It's always going to be close when you have these 2 teams that have made it all the way through. Even something like the MRC, you're going to see it tight. You're going to see these teams. Again, we talked about it, $3,000 difference between first and second, right? That's not nothing. Definitely worth fighting for here. And a lot of it, again, just that glory, that honor going into Ignite as that MRC champion. So I expect to see this. I think we could even get a game 7, man. We'll have to see. But, man, game 5, even match 5 is bound to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've been a part of a single finals that hasn't gone at least, there hasn't been back and forth. And I think that we're tied up here, right? Like, no matter what, we're getting 2 more games, 2-2 across the board. Remember, folks, best of 7. So first to 4 is the way to think of it. These maps are all randomized, so there is no major position as to, losing team has an advantage in the next, in the next map. It's not how it works here. But this is an insane battle, and it has been very decidedly for either teams. Like, it's so difficult to understand who has the advantage going into this next map, but I'll tell you what, I am along for the ride, and this has been a ton of fun. I'm not sure what needs to be changed here from the side of Dreamland on the bans. Maybe we get rid of the Hulk. They can run it really well too, so it's confusing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would think they're gonna go for the immediate Wolverine ban. I think that it's funny because we saw what won this for Nemesis. So let's look back twice. It was Daze's Wolverine on Clintar on Symbiotic Surface, ban the next match, right? And then they did well.
Yeah.
Then we see yet again Melophobia on that Wolverine. That seems to be the ticket answer, right, for this team. So I guarantee we are going to open up with that quick, swift Logan ban. And if not, man, I would go with almost the Protect if I'm on the side of Nemesis, especially after what we just saw.
Yeah, I'm with that. I could respect that. I gotta say, you were showing a lot of love to the side of Stinkers with the Psylocke. I thought that was insane too. I understand why they're banning that a lot, but it's surprised me how much they were willing to or able to power through those early picks. I think there was 3 separate fights, or I know there was 2 separate fights where there was a multitude of picks. It wasn't just an early pick, it was 2, and somehow they still pushed through and won the fight. That to me, I would love to go back and study how that worked out, but Stinkers can clearly push through early fights and neutrals and get value.
Yeah, no, that's a great point and great shout out. I mean, I would say if at any point Dreamland is able to get the Emma and Psylocke together, that's going to be all they need. That's all they need to win. So at least they came away with the Emma ban. And we talked about it earlier, highlighted again at the beginning of this break. But when you take out Emma from that rotation, then you force Mace to switch over. And then you kind of have everybody a little bit on something a bit different that does allow Nemesis to shine. I think Nemesis has a bit of a smaller pool, if you will, of some of their rotation. But when they have what they want, they shine quite easily. And Amadian again. But if Amadian plays like that, man, no one's stopping him.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of value, and we've kind of touched on it, but I think there's a lot of value in having a sub. I think that is another, chain. It's another chain, right? Like, it's another thing that you have to think about. You can't go back and just watch this team play because you're not getting the whole picture. And I think being able to rotate subs in every map or whatever, however it may work is advantageous, and it's worked clearly here. It was a decided win, but I'm curious if they're going to maybe cycle things up if it doesn't work in one of these maps and find more value again, because both times they came in for the first time with the sub, they got the win, right? Days came in and popped off, and then you had a Madian pop off as well. So it's like, they both are really strong duelists, and they clearly have strengths. It's just a matter of when do you put them in.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at like even Loki and Luna together, right? Like we saw what Valentina Eve can do on Luna in the case of what Central Park was. Yes, we love the Invisible Woman there, but as we stated, like Ricky does a great job matching that. So maybe they try to get the Luna to be in the equation. They went with that last time and it did work out for them. So they can look at, I think, all three roles. And it's obviously, getting the gene is going to be priority because you can only ban so much. You can only save so much, especially in these global bans. But they're going to look at all three and try to highlight who they think needs that extra boost, that comfortability to try to get them that bounce back win.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what map we're going to be going into here shortly. I'm not sure what the change in structure is going to be. These teams have a decent, you talked about, Nemesis maybe having a more limited pool, but even so, like these teams have pulled out a ton of different duelists, a ton of different Vanguards, are willing to play whatever. It's just more so now who gets that early initial fight. But in the end of the day, for some reason, it seems like whatever, Namor is popping off. Whatever Hulk is really performing, that seems to be the team that wins right now. Emma being banned enables that more because Hulk does struggle into the Emma, obviously with the, ability to carbon crush anytime a dive comes in. And even after Hulk ults is super dangerous. It's just a ton of free damage because you're obviously able to take damage throughout that whole animation. So you get rid of the Emma, you allow the Hulk through. Both teams are comfortable running it. Whoever's performing well with either one of those, to me, at this point, from what I've took away from these last 4 matches, that's the team that wins. And so I'm not sure if they're going to remove that maybe and add another element. There's just a lot to this game. It's a crazy chess match, and I want to see something different. I think you need to see something different for the side of Dreamland right now, because that was super that was tough. You know what I mean? They could not bounce through that.
Yeah, and listen, Nemesis has played a lot more games. When you look at how the bracket kind of rolled out and how people advanced to where they're at, Nemesis has had to go through, I think, 2 extra, right, in terms of actually playing. And so that does help. When you look at Ignite coming up, we're only like a few weeks away from Ignite starting up yet again. And so Dreamland being, that the newer team, we've seen this Nemesis team. Actually, funny enough, we had a roster mania happen, Chip, and Nemesis is one of the few teams that have kind of locked the same roster. Almost every single team has a different look.
Yeah, I think that's a buff, right? We talk about buffs and nerfs in different seasons. I think staying with a team and understanding each other, like at another level. I've talked about this with Dog before too. It's like, yeah, you know the strategy of a player, so it doesn't need to be communicated. When you have that understanding of how somebody plays deep down, and like what their flow is and when they typically ult and follow up, that no longer needs to be discussed. And that millisecond, that fraction of a moment to where that communication needs to go through is enough to win you. Especially at this level of play, those very small, those very minute details and changes are everything. And although I do think that Dreamland does a great job with communication and following an IGL, I know that it's a little more open on the side of Nemesis. So 2 very different strategies, but a team that has been together for far longer, like that definitely is a huge advantage, like you're saying.
Yeah, and listen, hey, we've seen hometown advantage work a couple of times. The mode hasn't mattered all too much because each team taking away the W where they needed it. But we are going to be heading to Wakanda, Shib. And, listen, looking at what the teams can pull together, not on domination here, but on convergence, this is where, mistakes can really be amplified. This is a hard first point to take. And so seeing this teamwork and that experience, as you've highlighted before, is going to come into play the most here. And going into it, there it is. Listen, buddy, it's like we know a thing or two, right? Like, it's like we know a thing or two over here.
Play the game a little bit.
Yeah, right. Jean Grey and Wolf out the gate right away.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are great bans on both sides, and I think that's a bit of a change up. I mean, we saw the lock of Wolf last time, found a ton of success, a lot of off maps, and just some good commitment in neutrals, and even being down in numbers, committing that last stand and getting a couple picks. A lot of good decision making here on the ban so far, but locking in that invis again, I'm not 100% convinced it's necessary for either side, as they're both willing to run it, and I don't believe it has been banned out. At least it wasn't banned out last map. So I'm still kind of hung up on that as to what that decision is, but it is going to be a convergence map. You got to take that point early on. There is potential to shut this down very quickly.
Yeah, we have what you want to see there. They start with that Wolverine ban into the Psylocke. And so, You know, looking towards it, I love the Invis save. With the ban into Human Torch at that, Nemesis here has to make a decision, and I'm feeling like they might just go the exact same approach. The Emma ban, I think, has to be said here, right? Like, you can't allow the next save to go in. You've got to shut that down. I told you, if they get access to this full team up, it's just going to spell an absolute nightmare. So I don't even know. To me, this is not even a conversation. I mean, they definitely have their plans, what they're looking to do, but yes, it is going to be Emma.
No, you nailed that. Yeah. I was with you. There's no way. I mean, especially when you see a Psylocke performance like that and it gets locked in, right? Like, that is a guaranteed Emma ban without a doubt. So good decision again. You know, I'm not sure who's next on the table here when it comes to Nemesis, who they're going to be targeting. Them making sure they remove. Oh, you know, I guess that was the decision. They're going to lock in and make sure Human Torch is removed once they see that Invis is locked in. A ton of pocketing potential from Invis, similar to Luna. So maybe we'll see the strategist line getting banned out here after this lock. We see Loki saved. So, you know, I'm assuming we're going to see another either duelist lock and then a ban out of or a Vanguard. That makes sense too with Magneto. And then they're going to ban out a strategist here, likely if they are feeling confident, because I know both teams is not afraid to run that Loki or the Invis.
Yeah, they're going to get Mace that Magneto, so, you know, not too surprised with the save. I'm actually kind of shocked with the Loki save, I'll be honest. You've seen Nemesis. Obviously, they like having Loki on their side. We saw Jinx play plenty of that. But going into, they've got the Punisher ban. Do like that, Madian. You know, when not on that Namor, they could go into that easily. The Luna ban to shut down what Valentina was cooking up last time. So, you know, I think this is a W on both sides. I think both are pretty comfortable with what they got. Of course, you've got to go in with that Hulk and Namor after it working so well. And then Melo could just swap over quickly to what he needs to go to on the Winter Soldier. And so that's probably what we'll see. Maybe they go, you know, maybe they switch it up. But this is the comp I expect, at least in terms of Nemesis.
Yeah, we've got Valentina floating here, the Mantis. I'm curious to see if she, you know, I'm not sure what they were thinking there. Yeah, maybe they're gonna, you know, right now the Rocket's just for packs. Obviously, it's Mace going to be running potentially a portal play early on to take that height. That has been coming back into the woodwork of the meta again. It kind of got slept on throughout season, you know, early season 3, late season 2. It started falling away because teams just expected it and they didn't want to burn the portal. But now that it's kind of forgotten about, it's back in the meta. So we might see something like that from Mace after everyone gets their armor packs. But yeah, I think this composition for Nemesis is comfortable. I think, you know, they don't have that Punisher to help burn some of those squids, but now that's going to be the job of Bucky, just removing squids and then allowing Amadian and Craze to do exactly what they just did all over again. But we know how good Chuckles is. We know how good Chime is. It's, you know, the conversation we had right before this is which Hulk Namor does it better. I guess we find out as we start off on attack here.
Big difference though, Stinkers, if they get a couple picks here, it's not domination, right? There's no stalling point. That just shuts down the team, and that's where we saw him shine before. Then no Wolverine to shut down Chuckles, you know, this time. So they are going to have to play absolutely lights out. Those claws and those pulls from Mello are going to have to be spot on here as the team's going towards the top. They got all the members up using Blessings of the Deep, going to Gamma Shield. Love the teamwork and the synergy right away. And you got the pull to get them down there. Great job there from Ricky and Awareness, splitting up the team a bit here as Stinkers trying to farm. Little bit of ult charge as the teams collapse, get that health pack, and get right into things here, Shib.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was a great call out on it. Not being Dom anymore, and those picks are far more valuable. It's not about just stalling. I like that call out a lot. As Stinker's already 30% scatter close with 50. The entirety of Nemesis slightly up in charge. Besides Valentino, who's already at 91.35. That is wild as they're pressing in heavy now. Nobody falls just yet, but alt charge for days. Valentina presses forward, and there it is. The boundary's up early. Can they collapse and match it? And they cannot in time as Ricky falls. Great reaction time there by Valentina, who now owns this space. Can they get enough here to make this portal not valuable? Craze goes down too, and Ricky coming in with the portal. We're gonna have to see a shift and a strategist. Somebody's gonna have to make that change if this touch comes through, potentially with the Hulk. But no, Dinks scatter, everyone falls, and that portal can't even touch as they get this point decidedly very quick.
Man, not only the Organ, but Valentina, the volume turned up all the way to 11. Great job there, just pushing the pressure in immediately. And that's how crazy it is. Just one ult to have a little bit of that edge. That's all they need. And, you know, Valentina showing Ricky, all right, we know who the invisible, we know who Storm is here with the quick trade at the beginning. Amadian with the whale to open things up. But yeah, right now, I do love the first approach there from Dreamland. 4 minutes. But just like Central Park, they've got to get the stall here because things can get out of hand pretty quickly there on phase 3. The whale coming up and then down from Chime. Nothing to connect from it. And Stinkers is going to be traded. Love that there if you're on side of Team Nemesis on the high ground.
Yeah, this is a defensible position. You typically can buy a lot of time, but 4 minutes and 20 on the clock right now. That is a lot of defense here as Ricky finds one. Chime goes down right after Stinkers falls, but alts are pretty much even across the board. Everybody going to be ready to press Q besides Chime, who used that whale in the last fight. So this is going to be an absolute Q fest very shortly, unless they really get some picks with some early ultimates. But I don't see that happening when the teams are this stacked ready with strategist line ultimates. Up we go on both sides. Bang, another. Why not see the invisible boundary? Out go those lamps as well. Mace takes a fair amount of damage, but it is matched by a quote-unquote better invisible boundary with more time on, as that's all that's left. Chime finds a Madian, and there is another copy here from Dinks to bring out another boundary. Venn diagram, why don't we? Another throw again, but you know, it's all about these Namor headshots, and that is another pick right there onto Dinks. Chime really dealing a ton of damage in this moment. Make that 3. Why not find 4 as Chuckles gets a cleanup?
The screen exploded. Yeah, you're right. Every Q was pressed, and right now definitely going in favor of Dreamland. I mean, absolute perfection on what they just established, and it's Chuckles getting back into things, right? You don't have the Wolf to make such a big impact as last time. The quick Gamma Freeze, what a way to shut that down. 1.27 left on the point. Shiv, this is going to be really tough here for Nemesis to get back into things. Chime getting extra pressure with Giganto. You've got 2 giants over there with now both Chuckles and the Whale, but we are getting a good stall job. Craze is going to be staying with his team. He's going to be trying to get something rolling, but Chuckles in this back line just feasting Shiv.
All 15 Mr. Fantastic mains are losing their minds as Melophobia on the Fantastic. I don't think we've seen Fantastic play in nearly any performance at this high level. So trying to stall a bit there, but did not work out. Immediately goes down. I was expecting to see a change up, but hey, why not keep running Fantastic here on the defense? But 4 minutes on, and the final point is obscene. Dreamland is walking right now and they cannot be stopped.
No need to exaggerate. I don't think there's more than there's not 15. I mean, there's maybe 10 if we're being honest. But looking at it here, you love to see a little Reed Richards come into play. Ricky there joined by the husband, but now Stinker's just doing exactly what we thought they would do. The pressure is just so immense here. The dance execution is ready. We should see that there on the back line. They're going to have to make the difference right now. 3 minutes 30 seconds. Valentina with the quick pick and a goodbye on what we will probably see there from Mr. Fonta as the team keeps pushing through.
Scatter goes up with the Meteor M, does the meatball, lands. Wow, Stinker's just different. Goodbye, Dinks. Instantaneously, out goes that dance. Will it find some value? Why not? Goodbye, Amadian now. Out we see an invisible boundary by Ricky just to kind of stall, but at this point, they've lost a lot. 2 bodies down, potentially thinking they could keep the team up. Mace gets Scatter onto Chime. Stinkers with that early pick onto the Invis, and now at this point, I don't see Dreamland stopping, but this is a very defensible position. Spawns are so close. You need to start clutching up and change the momentum now. We need to see a change in composition as we do see goodbye to Fanta here.
It was a great 35 seconds there, guys. Great 35 seconds. Now, I mean, the payload has got at this point like rocket boosters on it, just going through phase 3 so easily. That momentum carrying through. Chime's got the whale ready at ease here, trying to get something rolling here with the quick get rid there, and he goes and throws it down, gets the pick on Ricky Mello to fall, and this is going to be one of the easiest points to grab as Dreamland cruises through for the most likely victory.
Craze is still holding, does a great job stalling. Out goes the boundary, but Invis is not even close to the boundary. Instead, going to jump back into spawn to stay healthy. Not a bad idea. Craze just stalling forever right now, but a ton of damage goes out, and there's that iframe transforming back. That could be enough to push the point. It is. Again, another one of those instances, and what a push. Are you joking me? That was beautiful. 2 minutes still on.
I mean, that was absolute perfection, and it was just at the hands of every single, Infinity War or ult battle that we saw. First to take the point, and then the second one, they just won easily as all 6 were trading the Qs. Then moving forward, they just did not have a problem when you had both Vanguards shoved up all the way. Chuckles and Mace were just pushed up with so much pressure. Stinkers getting the 2 picks there on the elimination made that just a breeze to make it through. And then Mello playing rifles on hard mode there, playing a little bit of fantastic. I thought I've seen it all, Shib. I thought I've seen it all.
Yeah, I think it was just due to the raw, terrifying damage that is Stinkers on that Psylocke, but I think we just got to find a way to make that Psylocke go bye-bye in the ban phase instead of anything else. At least that's my takeaway from this, a lot of that early value, but I mean, I can't shy away from the fact that Chime, Mace, Chuckles, Jabori, and Valentina are just playing lights out right now. It's that simple. The team is locked. They took that last loss personally. It clearly was a decided loss, right? Like they That was a ooh, yeah, gonna take some damage there. Again, we talk about this a little bit, but don't be afraid if you're running Vanguard. Take some damage. You see here, Mace is not afraid to. Why not? It gives your strategist alt charge. Wait till that clock hits 0, that pre-clock timer. Take all the damage you can. Let your strategist heal up, and you'll have a little advantage having that alt first. Why not? I think it's a fun idea to try to get a pick, but it does backfire at this level of play.
Yeah, exactly, right? We rarely see that, turn and work out for the teams here. Stinkers already playing full aggression. You can tell when this team is feeling confident. They just played that different here. And again, getting that Psylocke, we had a feeling that this would be the end result. But Valentina, I just got to say, has just been playing at such a great level. Portal up at the top. It's either there on the point. And typically, as we are going to see here, at least Melophobia having good awareness. As Stinkers is probably going to be making the way from the left in. Now team moves in there. They've got the health pack advantage. Craze there going on the top. And did he hit that Gamma from downtown?
I think it collided. I'm pretty sure we saw it at the last frame there. Chime gonna keep the damage moving forward now. Dreamland just trying to hold the high side as you should on defense, but a ton of eyes all over the place. As Amadian now up in the sky with Ultron. Ultron can be very impactful on this map, making sure your backline can stay healthy too, putting that drone in the backline and not being afraid to shield up here in a dangerous position. Chuckles about half HP. Good damage from Chime, who finds Dinks in the backline. Melophobia gets one. Chime gets two though. Goodbye Amadian now. So great angle there by Chime on the defense to almost be attacking from the opposite side. Now going to hold the height, 50 HP in a dream, but still be able to get that. Are you kidding me? What a throw on a Melophobia there.
What the positioning of Chime is just something to be studied, right? I mean, absolute perfect play and finding the exact angle. It's like whose Namor is going to pop off more. Chuckles wanting to get a bit of this as well, and you're seeing the team up of every sense of the word from the Gamma Squid is just hanging out together and putting Kraz at such an uncomfortable position. We've seen this happen, right? Kraz had 0 final hits 2 matches ago, then goes off, but now finding that exact same thing here as the dive comp going in. Gets a little Gamma shield there, not going to last as the team's going to reset, but wow, they are playing to perfection. Amadian, quick switch over to at least trying to get something rolling. 95% on the Ultron though, that's going to help out a tab, but man, they've got 2 minutes shift. They still got plenty of time, but they got to reset.
Yeah, and here we go once more with the next fight. Alt advantage actually up here for Dreamland. Melophobia going to be there soon. Dinks shortly after. Craze, so there will be a ton of Qs ready, but virtually the entire side of Dreamland ready to launch those ultimates. Scatter just not quite there on the Strange yet. Is this going to be a first point hold? It's looking like it has some potential here. Still some time on the clock though. Out we go. Rage of Ultron. We see the Meteor M from Mace not find too much connection. There is the Gamma Squins up in the sky. Amadian now going to hold this height. Chop right into that boundary. Amadian with one on a Valentina, followed up by, oh my goodness, the juggle for days. Craze onto Mace. Ricky now onto Stinkers, and that is a ton on the side of Nemesis for the momentum, who's going to find Jabori. What a retake here by Nemesis owning this point. And at this point, I'm not sure the portal can come through, and if it does, it will be a tough retake.
I mean, being able to hit that perfect of a juggle on a Vanguard is so crazy. The circus out here as they get the stagger there on Chuckles now. Team opens up, jumps in, tick left here. They used a lot. Scatter does have the Agamotto if they want to time this out to perfection. You'll see what they have to use here as they move into the fight here. There's the Agamotto. Comes out. Wow. And pop goes the Weasel. Dreamland out of it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, for those trying to learn from these pro plays, a ceiling with Strange equals a very quick ultimate, similar to something like Bucky, but instead, your momentum from your lift, when you're using that left shift, has been increased. It was like a season 1.5 update as somebody played a ton of Strange. It increased the momentum, so you can actually use that momentum of height to push you forward when a ceiling is short above your head, and that enables you to zoom right through shields and right through expected location with that Eye of Agamotto shown right there. You just zoomed right through all of them, hit a huge ultimate and found 3, and that is some serious work by Scatter as Nemesis now pushes through to point 2.
The more you know. You thought you came here for an elite grand finals. We get both. A little bit of knowledge for your own play here as now Melophobia is on the Namor in Giganto with the back. It's a connection on Stinkers. Great job. And Reed there now trying to get rid of Chime, who's been such a threat. Blessing with the deep going up, just delaying the inevitable. And right now that point 2 push making up all that time difference here as they're cruising Shib, but they've got to win the all-important last fight here. Last time the Vanguards pushed up. We'll see if they do the same for Team Nemesis.
Yeah, I mean, you came to watch some fun play, and I'll tell you, these teams are so much fun to watch. Great portal wall there, and that will give them enough to get point two. Very smart play by Scatter, just to wall off anyone that doesn't have some height-taking ability. Chime holding up there a little bit, waiting for the back line. Big play, gonna find one on a Melophobia, and use that shift to escape. Out goes the Whale. Amadian finds Chime right back. Maybe the Whale was not as worth it as need be during that moment. Out goes the invisible boundary. Team gonna try to push forward to buy more time. 3 minutes and 18 on. This would be a crazy walkthrough if they're able to get similar time. Dinks doing what Dinks does with an early pick on a Jabori, and can they keep this momentum moving forward as Ricky hits a sleep up in the sky?
Yeah, absolute brilliant there. Scatter hitting yet another Agamotto and getting the team rolling here. I mean, it just comes down to a game of pixels. Chuckles just barely missed getting the overtime on point two now, and they're just pushing the full gas now. And man, they're loaded ship. They've got exactly what they want. They've got the extermination into both Monster Hulk. Dinks has theirs ready to go. This is looking good for them. But let's look for this dance of the butterflies. This will be a big difference maker.
Yeah, we're going to see Amadian pop this Rage of Ultron quickly and look directly towards Valentina to try to force out that invis, but we will see if it works out. Yeah, it does, as it's out instantaneously, not even needing Amadian. Just up we go with a few ults. Ricky going to drop back. Dinks' copy is no longer around. Melophobia, Amadian, and Craze ready to press Q. Stinkers and Chuckles. Chuckles launches in now. Can they continue the pressure? But a ton of damage as Mantis from the side of... Roar, are you kidding me? Melophobia turns and dome shots just in a millisecond. Beautiful shot there as Amadian takes out Chuckles. Chime onto Amadian right back, but the numbers are up for Nemesis as they keep moving forward.
Absolute gas coming from that last hit just to get rid of the ult moving forward. I mean, you could not have done that perfect. Scatter with what seems to be the millionth Agamotto hitting the entire team. The Whale does delay the inevitable with just for a moment here. Minute 48, only 20 seconds behind the efforts. Oh, Valentina getting the big pick on Scatter, forcing them to push back. Chime to follow, stopping this momentum that was absolute devastating for the team, and now they've got to reset ship. That was huge.
Yeah, that pick from Valentina was potentially, you know, at least point winning for the moment. They still got time. They still have Portal. There's a ton of options for them to retake. But wow, I mean, that momentum was heavily on the side of Nemesis. Way to come back in there as a unit. Survives through that Eye of Agamotto. Come back in patiently and still get a few picks. So well done again by Dreamland on the retake, especially when the momentum is falling that much towards the opposition. It is tough to do that, so well played again. And the pull out of Ricky early as the, oh my goodness, pops all. Out goes a mean set of green to keep the team healthy. And there's the Whale, Melophobia onto two. Goodbye to the backline. Amadian now onto Chime, and that is a ton of value. It is going to be tough to stop, and now they will not. Ricky on the Mace, one left. The sleep is up, burning the rest, and that should be a full 3-3. We're going to OT.
What Mellow, what can he not play? The whole ocean behind him, slamming it down for the slam dunk finish. Wow, bud, what are we witnessing? I mean, this is such racer-tight gameplay after what was such a dominant, easy win there for Dreamland to start it off. I mean, Nemesis said, hey, we're back in this. And outside of just that one quick pick on Scatter, they could have had it with only 20 seconds less. Still do a great job. But as we've talked about, Ship, a minute, there's a big difference here on how you have to approach this overtime.
Absolutely. It becomes a one team fight to a panic teleport to a much more calm potential portal play. I mean, 2 minutes is not enough to have that reset a cooldown, but still, I think this is a totally, you know, different game here. I think it's a little more calm on the side of Dreamland, but I will say the switch from Amadian over to this Ultron, the damage boost from Ricky is a comp that they're comfortable with, and it's finding success, at least on attack. So can they keep walking with this comfort on attack? There's a little bit to be said about, yes, you may not have the time advantage, but you just were attacking, so just do exactly what you've been doing. Play the same game and shove through, and Dreamland was kind of on their heels there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We've got a minute on the clock with Nemesis showing what they can prove. And I like what they've got going here with the team comp and definitely feeling pretty good about it. Now, Stinkers with the Winter Soldier. Definitely, I think that's the right play, too, on the swap. So I like where both teams are headed here. 2 minutes, 25 seconds can be tough to match. Scatter has been nailing these Agamottos. We'll see if he can farm one quick enough because the ult charge is where a lot of the difference is made.
All you need to do is capture Capture the mission.
And here we go, portal from Scatter off the rip. I talked about this being an option. They won't have the panic portal, but it's a one fight territory now. They have to make this happen, so they're going to use it safely. Just put them on the high side in the back and hope that Ultron's peak damage will be enough. Getting that ult very quickly as Amadian already at 15%, right up there with the back line, trying to gain as fast as possible with each shot. So this is everything committed into this fight. Great sleep there. Scatter with the E ready to expel that dark magic. Half HP on the side of Mace, a quarter, driven right back onto the opposite side. A full switch here in positioning now, and a ton of health on that shield. Scatter does have the escape, still going to elect to use that, but the pull right on the back line of Valentina. They're committing heavy, and they cannot make it happen. Amadian still finds Valentina, so it's traded off as Scatter goes down. Down goes a Vanguard and a Strategist. Melophobia onto Chime, and that is huge for Nemesis now on the attack. Up another number, down a Strategist for Dreamland, and they're using this positioning. They're gaining charge this whole time on point, and here comes the cue from Jabori. Ricky goes down. That could be enough here for the retake onto Dreamland, as Chime is going to be portaling back. What a back and forth fight. Craze gets one, Melophobia another. It's such a trade fest here.
Absolute pinnacle job here as the teams go through the portals. It's not going to be enough effort as they're going to be pushing the whole body. The big thick man keeps the team back, Shib. And I mean, listen, you called it out perfectly. Yes, the trade on Scatter, but we've got to highlight Amadian getting that pick on Valentina. Slows down everything, right? The ult charge and all. And then you have everything come from the whale and more from Melophobia. My goodness. I mean, with a minute left, they got to be so pumped for that. Phase 2. This is a big push here. And they've got everything, buddy. Team Nemesis still has so much left in the tank when it comes to ult economy.
Yeah, I think this is a really good look right now for Nemesis. Going into this point, a lot of the time as a team on defense, if you're going to lose that first point, just save all your ults and commit heavy on as soon as they leave that garage. But now they've got a ton to return back around on, as you see Rage of Ultron forcing out some of these backline ults. Stinkers is holding on here to the Bucky. Haven't seen a ton of Stinkers on Bucky. Chime going to be maintaining it, almost has the whale Chuckles as well. But Amadian going to find Chime before that even matters. So they're going to keep this momentum heavy now. Everybody walking. Got to make sure you're on point here. It gets a little dicey if you walk off. Immediately is going to switch, but Dinks going to find Chuckles. Melophobia, a ton of damage out, and oh my goodness, Nemesis may be getting point 2 here. This is a wild push.
Absolute, I mean, age of Amadian right now with the quick picks on Ultron, keeping this thing going. No high frames this time to slow down this card. My goodness, here as Dinks gets a pick from a downtown left field. Stinkers goes down. They're now making it through phase 2, getting to phase 3 potentially. This is an absolute masterclass job on how to make a minute last a mile, Shib, as they push in. And look, the whole team is up. It's just Dinks in the back.
Yeah, this is the most momentum-driven map, or at least push I've seen in a long time. OT at this level of play, heading towards map 3. Yes, I know momentum's a factor, but they're coming out on top with ult advantage in every single fight. The panicking is starting to ensue for Dreamland. Melophobia early again onto Chime, still holding on to these Qs, and there it is. The whale goes out, hits Mace on the high side. Mace in a dangerous position, burning all cooldowns. Melophobia gonna use that shift to just make sure that they stay healthy. Valentina coming in now with the invis. Will they be able to hold on with the boundary? They've got to stay on point. Hulk is juggling them away, and they are trading back and forth. Mace with a nice pick there onto Dinks, but at this point they're on point 3. Is it going to be enough? I'm not sure it can be. Stinkers now has ult and is over on the Ultron. Chime with the whale ready, but that is enough. I believe Dreamland wins this now as they're committing everything else. It's just Craze trying to hold on to the point, and it will not ensue or hold on for long. But wow, what a push in OT with a single minute on the clock.
Dear God, I love Marvel Rivals. I mean, just such good cinema and play there from the team. And yeah, I mean, listen, you cannot be like, you know what's funny about pro play is that they're probably frustrated. Like, oh man, guys, like, come on. But like, they just got a 2.5 push with a minute left. Absolute crazy. They're gonna have to, I mean, now it's just completely on how this defense is played, and you can play it so much differently now, right? Like, being the first team to push has its disadvantages, but when you go that far, now it's just all advantage because you can change your strategy, what you allow, when you ult, and what you do, right, Shib, to go into this thing. I mean, a Dreamland is probably just left stunned at the moment.
Yeah, you're completely right. I love that call out. It's similar to what I was mentioning. Like, now they can lose this first point fight, try to get them to commit as much as possible, and then save every Q right outside that garage on point 2, commit everything together, ensure you get value with these ults, and win that fight, and then the game is yours. You have 2 minutes and 20. It's enough for them to push through point 1. But, you know, that transition time, well, the cart is, you know, pushing out of that initial point in the garage. You've got that time that's got to be on the clock. And then at that point, if you just win one fight, it's game over. So you're right. right. It's a completely different shift. You don't need to force hold them at one anymore. You don't need to overcommit. It's all about maintaining ult and forcing the enemy to ult as much as possible. I think Ultron does a great job of that, and that's why we see Stinkers now on that Ultron matching it right back.
Absolutely, Mello going crazy as we saw. Can they do it again? I think this is just, if you're a fan of Rivals, then you're just happy either way. But my goodness, is this not what you came here for? Now Stinkers going up top. They're doing the same approach as last time, and we saw Ricky was on the ready. They did the invisible pull to kind of disrupt them a little bit, not going that way this time. As now we have Scatter. Okay, the portal here trying to break away some. It looks like, or at least Herd don't have the vantage point on it now. Stinkers them up top. Chip, what? The rest of the team there to the left, so they're split a bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure I love this. Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. I'll tell you that real quick. Stinker's going to find a pick onto Dinks. It's just that simple. If it's working, it's working. Clearly something they've practiced before. Melophobia going to find Chime, but Mace already finds a Madian, so numbers are still up here for Dreamland. Chuckles onto Melophobia now, and they are heavily pressing forward, not even having to commit ults here and taking point one. If they're able to do so, the portal's going to likely come in here from Scatter, though. No, Scatter's going to fall late. It won't be able to come through. So at this point, this is exactly what Dreamland needed to do to give them some a chance to win this.
Yeah, exactly. We knew, I mean, but again, this does change how they can approach it, right? Because there's a minute 15. There's going to be overtime either way. And so when you look at the ult economy, they still need to win this battle, though. Ricky's going to use it and pop it early just to get the aggression right away. I actually do like the decision, but they have to make this follow-up work here now. Push against Scatter does have the Agamotto. We do have the match from Stinker. 60 seconds on. There goes the Agamotto out. Gamma Shield, though, protects the entire family as Dreamland pushes in. Mello throws the whale down, gets the connection. Goodbye, Rory. Goes through the map ship. It's a beauty.
Yeah, that is the momentum. They're still walking now. They got plenty of time on the clock. Remember, folks, it's not over if this fight is lost. The team can respawn here, so you got to make sure you're still committing some of these ults and holding on, but it looks like Dreamland is maybe overcommitting and not resetting as a team here. They're going to use Chuckles here with that ult. Mace is still holding on. Valentina's still holding on, but you got to remember, they've got to win the next fight. It's not about this fight necessarily. What? An exile from Chuckles. That was insane onto a Madian. I love to see that. That's some big brain exile right there. Jabori going to find Dinks now. Nemesis is, it's a one fight territory once again as Dreamland is able to push through this point.
Absolute chaos that you're looking here for. 7 seconds now, at least 2 team fights it's going to take here. And when it comes to what they used, I mean, we still have Dinks available, and you've got now Crazy Man and what he's going to pull off here. Chuckles looking to get the dip on Hulk now, going up towards the top ground. They're looking to take the battle inside. Stinkers trying to get some quick picks there. Nothing from it, though, and here comes Crazy Man from the top rope. Ship is going to come down to that first pick. There comes the Meteor and Mace trying to put it on his own hands, but does not connect. Nothing comes from it. That's a big one to not have there, Ship.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for now from Nemesis. You just want them to commit ults and then them to not get value, but they're committing everything. Dinks and Craze are popping ult. They're trying to make something happen. Valentina in a dangerous position gets dove on. Will that pick come through? Yes, Valentina goes down, but Scatter falls in return as Mace gets one. Numbers evened out, but being down a strategist, it's all about playing slow now, making something happen. Stinkers with the Rage of Ultron now towards the backline. Ricky in a dangerous spot. Goodbye, Ricky, as Stinkers gets a pick, and oh my goodness, that's a two-piece. Melophobia on a Stinkers. That's two again onto Jabori, and they're still holding a Madian onto Chime. Can they shut this down? All ults ready for Nemesis. They have to commit. This could be it.
2 squids down to get two heroes out. The whale comes in. The whole ocean's with it. They get the elim there on Mace. Now that's going to slow things down, and it's over. Nemesis with a minute on the clock end up taking the overtime.
Oh my, we've seen it in ladder. You get shoved through, and with plenty of time on, your team potentially on the verge of giving up, changes comp just a little bit, and you come through, push through, and win an OT. Are you joking me? That experience, that patience, that calmness, them able to push almost a 0.3 with 1 minute in OT is why they won that. Dreamland, that was an insane push. Do not let that be lost on you, but wow. What a hold as well. Way to stay patient. And Nemesis coming on top 3-2.
Yeah, I mean, we highlighted it, right? You just can change your strategy whenever you've gotten to push that well, right? Because then they don't have to overcommit and use things that they don't want to. They lost that first fight. Hey, it's okay, right? And then the way they made the decision to use Ricky's ult, I thought was so risky, but it paid off, Shib, as you said, right? And then you had a little bit of a stagger. Yes, they ended up winning that fight, but then running out of gas. But gotta highlight it here, right? Stinkers he gets down the Ricky, right? Gets another pick, but Melophobia double squid elim, followed by the finish there on the Vanguard. Oh boy, man, this is such a good grand finals. This is so good.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. This is so much fun. So happy to be on this one with you, brother. But that, I mean, yeah, like you're saying, just value back and forth. It was a pick, a 2-piece, back with another 2-piece. Who's going to win it? And then it's another ultimate. The strategist line comes through with a big ult, keeping the team healthy. You see Ultron get a few, then the Squids get a few. It's like, this is just perfect play, so back and forth. The commitment is real. So you'll see them get these picks, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, this fight is lost. But the reason those picks happen is because the team was committing somewhere else and finding value on another fight or another play. So wow, what an insane set of back and forth plays, and well done again by Nemesis.
Yeah, hey, listen, it was worth the wait, right? We got things prepared, readied up, and we were just putting on and getting ready for what this show is all about. And right now, we go from what was, I mean, these teams are going so back and forth, but momentum is now definitely in Nemesis's hands, right? Up 3 on the series, and that's going to put things a little bit more tight here as we head into